Nikita. Maybe next one.
I'm killing it. I'm glad I don't ever have to touch that camera.
People will find easier.
Not for me. It's not for me. I was like, what about like a camcorder? Where you just like click one button and it's good. I like that. That's for me.
I can't talk on this one. It's an awful feeling. I have a flip one. The new flip? Yeah, and it's glass.
Just waiting for time.
How's your,
I left my phone in New Hampshire, so I have to use manual talk.
that's okay, I lost mine in dirt.
I heard you dumped it in a hole.
Oh, no problem.
Serious?
You're one of the few I don't know how to do the names.
I got it going now.
Thank you.
That's good.
Oh, you weren't able to retrieve it?
No,
Oh,
yeah, I was buried.
Really
I
deep.
even tried to find my iPhone.
Oh, so I made the noise.
They're like, I'm not digging, there's no way.
Someone's gonna walk by and hear
Or just vibrate.
It'd be the day I dig a post hole or something, oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
Right. Like I've been doing.
At least I wasn't losing.
Hello, everybody. I am here to welcome you to the Select Board regular meeting for Wednesday, October 18th at 6 p.m. On this meeting to order, there is a quorum. Everyone is present. We'll start it off as we usually do with the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so we will start this party off with public comment. If you would like to make a public comment at this point, you just state your name and the town you're from, and have at it. Sherry.
Hi, my name is Sherry Thurston. I'm from Bethel, and I'm on the planning board. I got a call today from, I thought this might be the best way to do this, I'm not sure, from Mitch Benedict, and he has to leave town for 6 to 9 months. He's been recalled by the State Department because of his skill set with events going on in the world right now.
Oh my gosh.
He expressed he really does not want to be off the planning board. And y'all know we've done stuff, Mike Sharon, we let him go every winter to Florida. Another option is, I got on the planning board when I filled in for Richard Blanco when he became poet laureate. And he's going on tour for 3 months. And how many years ago was that? And the other option I guess you guys have is just to,
Leave it empty.
well, you could do that. But then it gives us 6 members. So I took it upon myself to call Peter Southam, sorry, and see if he'd be interested in filling in for the duration for while Mitch was gone, and he said he would. And of course, it's all your decision. But I have a meeting next week, and I have another member who is going to get a state. So that's why I decided to come today,
When is Mitch leaving?
Monday.
Oh,
He's been in and out of DC a lot, and he's missed a lot of meetings, and it's as usual with, I mean, we're so fortunate to have someone of his caliber and his skill set
for sure.
that, and I've enjoyed him, you know, working with him on the planning board. I don't know what the official options are. And I just know the things we've done, but I don't know if they're right.
Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna try my policy and procedure real quick and jot something down. Okay,
I would treat him like he was like military, you know, like he's getting called out, and do you wanna?
sure, you hold his spot.
Right, I mean, I think so, what do you think, Jim?
That's the right way.
So basically, you need an interim.
Mm-hmm.
A ton of
We're-
interim.
Lots of interims. Yeah.
Okay.
And
How long is his term? Is
I
it
think
the
it's
middle of his
25,
term?
the end of 25,
I think we appointed him last year.
yeah,
I'll
12
go
to 30.
during the term.
I got it right here.
But it would be for a period of, he said 6 months, and then he said, you know, worst case, maybe up to 9 months, so.
Yeah, it's
I
a little
did
bit of
tell,
a
I
weird
told
time.
Peter all that.
Okay. I think we should, should he probably write us a letter or something, just so we have on file? Lori?
I'm not sure if I'm right or not, but I think he has to write a letter to you guys. And then Peter has to fill out an application and put in it for interim, and then you guys have to approve it or disapprove it. And I think that's the way, because it's military.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be my inclination, is not to exclude people from the opportunity of applying for the interim position. It's amazing that Peter wants to and can, but I think going through the proper channel of Mitch saying, hey, I need an interim for this time to this time, and then us putting that out there, hey, we need an interim for 6 to 9 months for the planning board, and then people put in applications and we do the normal process, would be the most fair. I don't know how everybody else feels.
That'd probably be the most fair, because this way, right, we need to open it up to everybody, there's a vacancy, and that's been our practice. And, I really appreciate all of Mitch's, contributions and his volunteerism, but that also allows us, if something continues to keep him away, at least we have somebody in that position to maybe fill out the rest of his term, if it comes to that.
So maybe the position should read like interim to the end of Mitch's term.
Well, it wouldn't be a bad idea for an intern.
Or a second for the whole board.
For the whole board to have a, what's it called?
So they have,
Alternate,
alternates.
yeah.
There used to
No,
be,
I agree with that.
there used to be
yeah.
alternates, and there used to be a,
I almost think it's in there, but I can't remember.
We used to
no,
have a 5-member board, and we put in the 7-member board so that we never had this issue,
To have
so
an alternate.
him, it's pretty easy now, we're not in, if anyone's traveling, if a lot of us are
Cause
retired.
it's not a situation of quorum, it's a situation of ties.
Yes,
Yeah.
even though we don't have that much
This means
on the
ties.
planning board, but, you know, of course it can happen.
Yeah,
It's just, we want an odd number.
sure.
We're okay for a few weeks
Sure,
without
sure.
it probably, but.
No, that makes total sense.
yeah, and there used to be alternates, right, there used to
Yeah,
be,
till
used
we
to
went
fill
to-
them,
till
right,
we went to
Yeah.
7,
and then in the code, when
Yeah.
the code was updated, the alternates were eliminated from.
Sure.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask, if the code allowed for alternates.
I don't think it disallows for it.
It did at one time, it did at one time, and it was a little unmanageable, I believe, and then it was eliminated.
It was got eliminated?
Yeah,
So Mitch's term expires December 25.
Cause that was just in December 25th?
Yeah.
Oh, you looked it up. Okay, December 25. So.
But it is the proper way to do it.
Yeah.
is-
Yep. I didn't know what the process was.
No, this is perfect, at least we know about it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think I guess the motion that I would make is that we request a letter from Mitch explaining when his kind of
Mhm.
term well, he'll definitely not be there, and then, we can just extend, or we can put out a notice that there is, room for an intern to come into his position until December 2025, at the very latest, but more than likely 6 to 9 months.
Mhm.
Does that work for, that's my motion. Excellent. Any discussion on the matter?
Mhm.
Alright, all those in favor? Sweet. Alright, thank you, Sherry.
So,
Good to see you all.
Did it do it?
no,
What?
we're just kinda wondering if we're gonna have quorum for that night then.
Yeah, I'm just worried about next week
Next week.
because we have another member who's out of state. So I'll be down two.
With issues of quorum, you do have a remote policy that you can lean back on, someone can zoom in. I know, I'm
Just
sorry, I did need it as well,
It has to meet
It
the
has to be.
qualifications.
which is the quorum, yeah.
No, it has to be situations of emergency, there are specific
Mhm.
criteria what a remote can be
It's the hard
used.
part about it for us is our policy dictates that we roll call everything when
Yes,
we have a remote in it.
so if you do a findings of fact,
That's,
it's
Yeah.
that's according to state law, which we
Yeah.
adopted, yeah.
It just makes it very tedious and a very long meeting.
well, I have it right here, cause
I think we will, but if I just,
You'll have 5 there anyways.
I should have 5, if anybody else, I think we're okay with 4 too.
yeah,
Yeah, you are, so.
Yeah, we should be okay, but if one person, maybe one person to come.
Right, so
So,
you're not gonna get an interim in less than a week.
no, guess not.
No,
Unless we just
actually,
accept-
it's
Just
gonna
remove
take,
them
cause
all.
it has to, their next meeting, which would be on
just tell your members they gotta come.
Next meeting is the first.
the first.
No loosey goosey.
And it has to be posted, so we won't see anybody till the beginning of December at the earliest.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I will let Mitch know, and I will let Peter know, or Sarah can let Peter know, and we'll get this
Yeah,
going.
I mean, I think Peter already has an application
He
in,
does.
or do they go away after you vote? Yeah, they do? Okay, so you have to reapply.
I'll let him know.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other public comment tonight? We have one public hearing, it's the renewal of the liquor license for, the gem at 48 Cross Street. I am now going to open the public hearing. Do we have any comments? I am now closing the public hearing. That was invigorating, you guys. Okay, next up, we have action on minutes to see if the board will vote to accept the adjustments made to the September 20th, 2023 minutes. Did you guys get a chance to see those? The adjustments were in 11C. Can you make that motion?
Oh, yeah, I can motion.
Sorry. You're shaking your head at me.
No, I just asked Frank if the adjustments were what, here, because I think you.
Yeah. Frank, are
Make
you happy?
mention of the things I asked, yes.
I make a motion that we accept the adjustments made to the September 20th minutes.
I'll second.
Excellent. Any other discussion on these minutes? All those in favor? Alright. And then there's just a note for 6B that action on the minutes from our last meeting, October 11th, will be on November 1st, 2023 meeting. That's because it's election time and they were focused on getting absentee ballots out, so that works for me. Next, 7, acceptance of grants, donations, reimbursements, or sales of materials. To see if the board will accept a donation of 3 used simulator mannequins from the University of Maine or Orono. The approximate cost to purchase 3 new mannequins is $30,000. Chief Hanscom, do you wanna let us know what this is all about?
Sure. So, you may have seen on TV at some point these simulator mannequins that basically interact with healthcare providers or providers in training to give them the opportunity to practice on a not real human being that interacts with them. The University of Maine is apparently getting rid of 3 of their used mannequins. They reached out to a colleague who shared the information with me and said, hey, would you be interested in this? So it's $30,000 worth of equipment. It is used equipment. The downside of this for us would be they do need to be refurbished, which requires them being shipped out, shipped back, and the cost of refurbishing. I'm told that the maximum amount that costs is $2,000 for the refurbish and $350 for shipping, so $2,350 per mannequin. So you're looking at $7,000. So, like, I like to be a straight shooter, bringing the opportunity before you. I will be completely honest, I don't know if the opportunity will still exist by the time we all make a decision, because they were actively looking to get rid of the mannequins. Would it be cool to have 3 simulator mannequins? Absolutely. Is it life or death for the service to have them? It is not. So you're not going to hurt my feelings either way. I just felt that it would be better for you guys to have input in that than for me to just flat out say that we weren't interested. If we were to choose to take the mannequins, I would envision it taking us a couple of years to get them all refurbished, because I don't have $7,000 that I'm actively looking to spend on something that I wasn't expecting to come up. So I'm happy to answer questions, but that's sort of the flavor of it. Cool opportunity, not required opportunity.
Would you do any classes with them?
So the idea would be to train our staff and surrounding area staff on the mannequins. I'll be honest, I've never had the opportunity to use one of these, so I don't know all there is to know about it. It was just something that was brought forth for us.
So it would be just for town employees, not for town people?
So I hadn't really thought about that. Like when it was presented to me, I was like, oh, a way to train our staff. I don't know if it can do things that would be useful to regular.
I'm not sure if you have to be certified for that either, to do it to the public.
Yeah. Like, we have people that are certainly certified to do CPR first aid. I just don't know if any of that is applicable to this style of mannequin. I'm not the most knowledgeable about them. Again, just thought it would be best to bring it to you where it was a significant offering.
Totally. Do you know, like, I guess to piggyback off of Pat's thought, if you have like mannequins like these, is it like an income generating situation where our classes would be kind of easier to fill, or
We could
something like that?
I don't know that they actually charge that much for that class.
$25 is what I paid.
Okay.
So like a first aid class, you can certainly charge for. The other potential opportunity, and I put zero thought into this, but the other potential opportunity is if we were to have EMS related training, charging people throwing paste, Netgear, stolen fibers, whoever wanted to come, a fee to come. I don't know what that would look like.
Yeah, I just don't know, if they can make their money back, then cool, but if it's an unnecessary thing for you and you don't really care, then.
I was just gonna say, how invested would you be in wanting to learn how to use them and?
So if we had it, we would definitely put the effort into learning. But there is another item on the agenda that I'm going to pitch a lot harder for you guys to go after. That won't cost you money right away, but if you told me I had to choose between the two, then
Yeah, I
the
guess
other one is more important to me.
yeah, I guess that's the other question, like, with $7,000, would you spend it on something else if you could?
I would say yes, like, if you got $7,000, I'll spend it on something else.
So you,
I have a question for you.
Sure.
These mannequins, how does it increase the value or make the ambulance service a better service? Or
So-
does it not?
So, from my understanding, again, I haven't actually used one, it allows your people to do assessments on a mannequin that's,
It's like you can look at your
Interactive.
efficiency.
it's kind of like doing, I don't know how to describe
Would it be like if you're doing chest compressions, it would be like speed up?
Or you
I'm
can
dying.
watch, like, not to be, but since you're asking about CPR,
Yeah.
like, the mannequin would be able to go through the progression of interacting with you, zip line, like, it can change its state versus a mannequin that's just gonna lay there.
Whoa, that's heavy.
But whether or not it's, like, I don't honestly know if it's worth the $7,000 or not. Obviously, to somebody it is, because they bought 3 of them at $30,000 at some point in their life. Again, I'm probably not selling this really well, but I'm also, it'd be cool to have $30,000 worth of mannequins,
Yeah.
but I can operate the service without them. Like, I'm just being honest with you.
What do you do now? Will this take the place of a training that you would otherwise take, or the cost of the training that you would otherwise take?
I would say it augments our ability to train people in a more realistic environment. Like,
And is the $7,000 a one-time fee? Is there some sort of maintenance that has to be done annually, or?
so I wasn't told about any annual maintenance. I suspect that if you had them for a number of years and used them, that you'd be back in the boat of having to refurbish them again at some point. I'm suspecting the University of Maine probably puts more wear and tear on them than we would, but again, I've never owned one, so.
The training that you do now.
Yep.
The way you do it, that these would replace, do you get good results? And is the results not working?
I don't know, have you ever had an ambulance ride before? Did you like it? I don't honestly know.
Okay, I mean, really, so, we're throwing mud against the walls and the wood sticks.
We're saying this opportunity was presented to us. I
Do you
don't know
wanna
if it's
take
worth, I don't know if it's worth the money or not, but
Okay.
I didn't feel like I should say no to $30,000 worth of equipment without the consultation of other people.
Thank you. Lori?
I was wondering if they did take the donation, if you guys authorized the donation, would, where he said it doesn't have to be done right away on the refurbishment.
Right, we can just do a little.
Do one at a time.
Yeah, when he puts it into his budget for like next year or the year after, would it deteriorate the mannequins for him to sit around for a little bit?
Dave, do you have an answer?
Not to my knowledge, but I could ask that question.
There might be just the electronic part of it, do you think?
I picture this as like, if they're sitting on a shelf, they're not being exposed to any elements.
Yeah, I mean, if they need to be refurbed anyways, it doesn't matter if you do it now or 10 years from now if they're not being used.
Is that,
The only thing that I can see being a potential downside to that is if they became obsolete. Like if you didn't do it for 10 years, technology might be obsolete and then it might not be possible. But
do you know any other towns who do use them that you could kind of
I don't
ask
because
if
they're
it's really worth
$10,000. This is a tool that's mostly used in the college setting by nursing students.
so if we did, where in your budget would the $7,000 come from?
I would envision it coming out of equipment maintenance, if there are form of equipment, but I haven't consulted the finance officer. Just where it's coming up in my head, like that would be the make sense to us.
It's not your midnight talks. Can you use $7,000 for mannequins?
I had a question, just, what, does this, do they run
John.
through, oh, I'm sorry. Does these mannequins run through like scenarios, for example, one's having a certain type of heart attack or one's having a different type of scenario? That way it kind of trains them.
So my understanding is you can tell the mannequin what you want it to simulate. I don't know how in depth it will go, but if you can tell it you want it to
Awesome.
tell you that it has these symptoms or it, whatever.
Is it all or none? Is it 3 or none? Or can you get one?
So I would assume, since they're offering them, that if they still had all 3 available and we said, hey, we only want one, that they would just go out and find somewhere else to take the other 2. That would be my assumption. Like I say, this
Used in
came,
the schools or?
this came through a contact of somebody who knew that they were trying to get rid of them, and they were like, hey, you think Buffett would be interested, so.
Should we try maybe get 1 or 2?
I mean, if he thinks that there's merit in one,
Would one be sufficient, or would it be better to have 2?
One would be more than what we've got now.
Yeah, I guess, because if you're observing, then you're observing the
Yeah.
interaction, and how many people are on your staff?
So that's a tricky question. You want the full number?
Like, who comes to
You're
your
looking at
trainings?
like 43 or so people that come regularly, and more in like the dozen to 15 ballpark.
Yeah, so a dozen to 15 people, so you're on watching 1, doesn't seem too outrageous.
Crazy.
Yeah, it doesn't
I
seem
mean,
too
if there are
crazy.
a lot of different simulations too, then each person can take a different simulation, you know.
Yeah,
Just wonder, like, if you could rent them out, you know, to other,
yeah,
and, you know, at $100, you know, you get it for a day or whatever for $100, and then it wouldn't take that long to run the cost.
especially, wasn't there like, Sunday River just had that giant, house, and all sorts of people up there, so maybe if that's something that's available locally, that people can use it. I mean, yeah, I'd say snag 'em. I shop at the free store at the dump, so I might not be the best person.
I've been on both sides of this. That when it came across the bow, it's like it's an awesome offering. I also recognize that $7,000 is nothing to scoff at, and we are getting by without it right now. So again, I'm happy either way.
I mean, if we can get one and then consider it when we go into budget cycle, of just like, oh, we're just gonna be squirreling money away to eventually be able to refurb these, and I think that makes sense, so we're not like taking from some other service that needs money.
Well, we could do just 1 at a time,
Yes.
too.
Sharon,
Can I just make a suggestion?
please.
If there are 3 available, I don't know if you have to accept all 3 or not, but accept them. And then, at the end of this budget season, if there's money left in the maintenance equipment account, you could use the money at
Yeah.
that point for 1 refurbishing.
That's
If
what I-
not,
yeah, that's
you
what I'm
could,
thinking.
budget for it.
Yeah.
There's also a contracted line, which, if it's not all used, you might be able to take some money of that, but just do 1, and then use the 1, and then what you can do is see if it does have an advantage and it is useful for the department, and then that will, you can decide then whether or not you want to do the other 2, and if it's not something that's gonna work for your department, then the department could donate it to another department,
Okay,
just a thought.
I like that. I'll make the motion that we approve, how did you put this in here? Where are you? Right here. That we approve Dave reaching back out to University of Maine to see if we can get all 3 or 2 or 1, whichever works.
Second?
Any other comment on this issue?
and just so you know a possible path to get them refurbished.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna throw a suggestion out there is, reaching out to Sunday River and seeing if they, have any interest in them also. Cause they,
I know a guy.
well, I mean, they can, something could
Yeah, we
happen
can
there.
rent them.
Yeah.
Well, they're a good partner with the town, so to reach out to them and partner with them, payback. You know.
Okay, excellent. All those in favor? Thanks, Dave, for bringing this to us. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys.
Town managers report. We have these lovely packets, everybody.
So in your packet, I've included a copy of the agenda and the minutes from the Airport Authority's meeting of October 11th. Date on that. Also in your packet, and it includes the September expense reports for cash, excise, and the capital accounts. I did have those, given to me last time. I just didn't know what they were. That they were for you. So those are in your packets. The next item is I've given you information on the next elected officials workshop webinar, which is November 28th. If you would like to attend, please call Jessica and she can register you. Michelle is already registered. I contacted Betsy Gross, who is the select board chair for Hanover, I have a problem saying that name. The board can meet with us on November 1st or 15th, is what she got back to me. Her board met Monday. She didn't have a time listed in the email that she sent, and I did forward you a copy of her email. Both dates are the same day that we have our regular meetings. Options, I don't know how you meet with groups like this, but you could either meet before or during the meeting, or I don't know if you want to even have that during the meeting. And if these dates don't work for you, then I can get back to her with optional dates and times that you might want to decide on tonight. I did include a copy of the original interlocal agreement that was signed December 19th, 2000 by Hanover, Newry, and Bethel, just so you could see the original. I talked to Donnie Dura Monday. He's the Oxford County Administrator. I had several items actually to talk to him about. And one was the Regional Animal Control Officer. He did say that right now they're in the very early stages of gathering information. And as soon as he gets all the information, then he will get back to us, and I told him that we would be interested based on his findings, so he will get back to us and let us know. Today I did connect with Sheriff Wainwright about the Bethel's agreement for law enforcement services, which I have read in its entirety. He said he and Donnie met with Natalie and one of our board members earlier on. I don't believe that board member is still a board member, the one that met with them. And he said they were looking at future dates to sit down and go over the agreement section by section. He said, I told him I was bringing this to you tonight for discussion, and he did say to get back to him with any optional dates and times that we could meet. He would meet with us, and Donnie would also be part of that conversation. I included in your packet a copy of the last agreement that was signed by Loretta Powers, Tom Windsor, and Chris Wainwright. That was in 2019. The town or county has not actually signed an agreement since that time. The contract just renews automatically every year because there's no date of renewal set in it. And the packet also includes a copy of the March 2nd new contract price letter, so I wanted you to see that. That's the price that's in effect for this fiscal year that was budgeted. And also the September monthly activity report from the sheriff's office. I did find where these were sent to the manager prior. The sheriff does send these out monthly. And it did show that July and August reports were sent to you. But I printed September's out because you hadn't received that one yet. That just came in on the 2nd of October. So I can give you those copies whichever way you want. through email or hard copy. Some people prefer one or the other or both. So you can let me know how you wanna receive those next month when they come in. But that'll give you, an opportunity to go over that with the contract, the agreement as it is right now, and if, after you have a chance to review it, I'd like to put this back on the agenda for next meeting, so that, we could talk about any, changes that you would like to see or adjustments. And then, I guess Frank is the appointed, board member for, meeting with the county on these. And we could set a time to start meeting. But I think once you have a chance to go through it and then offer any questions or comments to bring to a meeting, or if more than one of you want to attend, you can also do that, I'm sure. Do you have any questions?
No, I think putting that on the next agenda would be a good idea.
Okay.
And I like the idea of adding an alternative or a second to the meeting, Frank, because your daytime hours, my understanding when Natalie was here was that caused a conflict with the deputies. So if you can make it amazing, yeah, so if you can make it amazing, and if you can't, it's not a big deal, but we have someone there.
So I'll put this on the next agenda for discussion. I also talked to Sheriff Wainwright about the break-in at the town office and the several break-ins actually that occurred at the transfer station. He's just back from a, military leave, and he is going to look into it, but right now, he said they're still under investigation. We're going to close the clerk's office on, Tuesday, November 7th, so the 3 clerks can work at the election for the polls. Jessica is going to be the warden, and Emily and Christy will be appointed as her deputy registrars, because they all have, the registrars and the warden all have a different function at the election, and then there are 5 ballot clerks. Is it 5 or 6? Is it 5? And voting will be at the American Legion, as it is every year, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Jessica said her staff has given out 50 absentee ballots as of today, and 20 have been returned. I called Chris Sanborn, who is the owner of Modem Waves, and he's the IT-tech person who works for us. He's going to come next week so he can go through our computer system. There are several updates that really need to be made, and he'll assess all of that. In addition to finding out that our email addressing is, needs some updating and corrections of names.
You want an email, Sarah?
And yours will be set up, so there'll be some changes made to that, so, it's consistent. Right now, there's no consistency to how the emails for the staff or the selectmen are set up, so it will be one program for all of them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that's awesome, she's been asking for that in 4 months.
And I also did find a copy when I was looking for the policy and procedures. I found a copy of the code of conduct that you have been working on as well. And for right now, I just put that on the back burner, but if you would like to talk about that at the next meeting and start working on that, I can have a copy of that for you, or I can find where it's saved in the computer and I can forward that, but I can definitely get you a hard copy in your mailboxes. Thank you. That's it.
Awesome.
Thank you. Just had a question in regards to, number 4, the Hanover meeting.
Yes.
Was it just gonna be Bethel and Hanover, or was Newry gonna be invited too?
Yes, they can be invited. I can't remember if they asked for Newry, but, I think they wanted to sit down with this board. But whatever you want, I can call Loretta and I can see if they anybody wanna meet with us, or I can call, Betsy back and ask her if she wanted to include all three towns.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, I wasn't
I-
clear on it.
I don't think it was in the letter that.
It wasn't in the letter, she just requested to meet with us, but, I, you know, I didn't do this to exclude anybody. But, if you want me to give Loretta a call from Newry, I can do that. Or I can call Betsy back and ask her what her intent is.
My understanding with the meeting was that it's not for actually working on the agreement, it's just to say, hey, we are uncomfortable with X, Y, Z.
She had a complaint with it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that, I'm not sure if that can be discussed during the meeting. I guess it could.
If they just wanna come to the meeting.
Well,
Instead
see,
of
she
have it-
didn't say any time, she just gave me those 2 dates in the email, but I can call her for clarification. If,
Right, I would say that either date would be fine if we're gonna discuss it during the meeting.
okay,
Okay.
This is our 2 meetings, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, the only other alternative would be to do a special meeting beforehand.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
we could come, how long, we would just need like a half an hour? or
I wouldn't think it's
something? So maybe-
that much more complaints than half an hour.
I mean, we could do 5:30 if that helps, but, or if it's easy to incorporate it into the meeting.
Yeah.
Well, 5:30 works for everyone, that's great, yeah.
And then we invite Loretta so she at least knows that it's happening.
Yeah, I think to let them know.
Okay.
That it's happening.
all right, so then, what I'm hearing is,
Yeah.
see if they can come at 5:30 before our meeting on, do you wanna go November 1st or 15th?
Let's just do the birds first.
Okay. And I'll let Loretta know.
Awesome.
And if some reason they can't do it the first, then we do it the 15th.
Okay.
That's good. Okay. All right, board meeting committee reports, we don't have any, old business, also don't have any new business. To see if the board will vote to approve the renewal, liquor license application for the Gem at 48 Cross Street. I will make a motion that we accept the renewal for the liquor license application for 48 Cross Street, the Gem.
Second?
Alright, any thoughts on this application? None, all those in favor? Excellent, no, Sarah, you cannot.
I asked Sharon, and she said I could, that it's
You
not,
can.
but I just.
As long as there's no monetary value.
But
I-
As long
I'm
as
happy-
it
I'm happy-
doesn't,
She has tons of management, she gets paid there,
Oh.
she's an employee.
that doesn't matter.
Manager?
It's
Really?
up to 10%.
It doesn't matter, I can just not vote, it's fine.
No, I wanna know because I never vote on things if I'm working at the place. Cause my understanding of statute is that if I'm working there and getting money, I cannot vote on an application.
There is legalities in the statute about conflict of interest, and I'm not recalling it now. I think if you receive a it has to be there's a certain percentage
It is.
Of ownership?
of ownership or receiving monetary value.
If there's any financial gain,
That's what I thought it was, any financial gain.
any financial
I
gain.
think we need to look the law up.
Well,
But she can-
anyways,
she
you
can
can vote this
abstain.
time.
Yeah,
she
she
can
can vote or
abstain.
abstain. If you wanna abstain, you can abstain,
I can
and
abstain.
we can.
We
up
should
the
look
law.
that up though, because I have like, for 2 years, not voted on a lot of things.
I've just seen different boards do it
Yeah, like
different ways. but
45 jobs.
I'll look it up for you, and
That
then
would be
you can
awesome.
do whatever it is.
Thank you, sorry.
Yeah, I did,
Sarah.
I did ask.
No,
I wanted to
no,
make sure
it's
what
alright. Okay, anyways, congrats to the Gem. To see if the board will vote to approve the adult use medical marijuana stores, cultivation facilities, manufacturing facilities, testing facilities, and dispensary application for New Mill LLC for Benjamin Purdue, 515, West Bethel Road. Do you just wanna tell us what you're doing up there in like a sentence or two?
I'm just a caregiver who provides care in that front office
Okay.
instead of having patients we just wanna be able to have an open flag outside so they can.
So you used to deliver to patients and now patients will be able to go in and grab their stuff?
We've always had patients coming there,
Oh, okay.
and this would just allow us to say we're open versus not open. Cause right now, the law states we have to say by appointment only.
Yeah, okay, okay, so you're gonna.
Unless you guys, now that we made this new rule that you guys have to approve our retail, because before my licenses just had the retail location on it.
Mhm.
Now they want that new form that we sent you guys to fill out that we can have patients and have an open flag.
Okay, and, did you go through site plan for your facility? I kind of remember a while ago, the back warehouse, but no store or anything like that being associated. I thought it was like living quarters or something.
It's supposed to be living quarters and
Yeah.
only.
When we did the site walk. it
Yeah,
was-
when we did the
yeah.
site walk, I feel, sorry, two of us were on the planning board
Yeah,
when we went to.
we have multiple different businesses running there, so we can't,
you
we're
weird people.
we're mixing adult use and caregiving.
Okay,
The caregiving has always existed there
so,
as my retail location, and I have it on the licenses, but they just need the extra. What was that?
I'm mumbling.
Yeah, I know, I'm trying to.
I'm
we-
trying to remember.
I'm
the
gonna
mumbling
question,
of that.
where did you always have the medical?
It's always been on the facility, so I've always been growing and selling there. And then you guys approved the adult use license knowing that I was existing there. So for Brilliant Buds or Route 2 Grow and Make, on that license, there's a form that says I will not be resigning my medical license
wait,
or anything.
wait, hold on. Brilliant Buds is you as well,
It's on my site,
on your site?
yeah.
And then what's the other one on your site?
I'm a medical caregiver, so Benjamin Proto.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm confused about is if there is a brick and mortar or a building.
Here, I can just show you the state used to listen or list our licenses.
Here's-
Can I say,
Can you see?
no, no,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just-
Here. So it used to say retail location 518.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
So it's always been a retail site, but then they want us to do the new form.
so,
But now you're at 515.
what was the date on that license?
The owner of the property is 515 West Hill Road,
So
LLC.
the recreational store that's next to Mountain Greenery, what connection is that?
I have zero connection with Dave's old medical.
No, that's-
Is he not the owner of both properties?
No,
No.
he was doing something with one of the warehouses for a second, and now he's not, I don't think. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
John.
so my question of it, I mean, my understanding is that the new mill has been operating as a caregiver location for the past, what, couple years now?
For as long, for
Before 2017.
way before, exactly.
And I think the application process that he's following right now is to allow him to expand on from caregiver to now showing his business hours and showing open to now open to the public, or open
Exactly.
to the business, right?
Exactly.
What I would suggest is if we look at that and say, okay, we're gonna accept your process now, you're gonna show you're open and you're doing that,
Yep.
I would then request, you've now been, you've accepted that, you need to go back to the planning board, so then that way you can,
So typically it's the opposite direction.
yeah, but what I'm saying right now, I think that the new mill medical
As
caregivers been running under
caregivers,
that.
we have, like, it's our,
So we just got this letter from Alicia Ellis, who's the Director of Licensing for the Office of Cannabis Policy. And within that letter, she wrote, "The caregiver we have on file using the DBA New Mill Medical Cannabis does not have the authorization to operate a caregiver retail store. So we would not have asked for municipal authority."
so that they're asking for it now, cause it used to be on my license. Now to renew the license, we have to do that new form.
Okay.
So the current one, because of COVID and everything, we were just doing by appointments only we didn't need to switch that over.
So I guess this is my hang up, and I'll just, you can tell me how you feel about it. My hang up is that when every other, like, who's Mike Everett, for example, every time he opened a new section of the same complex, right, it's
Yeah.
all his, every time he opened a new section, it was a new site plan.
But they had to switching it from medical to adult use,
But
and
no,
he
no,
had
he built
to,
a shed.
because he had to switch from his barn to the new location by Sunday River to, and I've always been existing there.
But you've never done a site plan for that part, you've changed,
That was
The-
always an existing retail store that I've always been at,
But
from
you-
the beginning. From when I bought it, I worked with Toby, and we were an existing retail store. So you guys never did site plans or never did any of this before.
right.
And
Oh,
then
you're
in-
saying from the time that it was a mill, it was a retail store, so there was no
Yes.
change of use, so that
no
you didn't have
change
to.
of use.
Got it,
So I'm already there as a store.
understood.
Yeah.
But I'm confused, because when we did the sidewalk, you stated that front building was residence. How could it be residence?
Can you show me where that documentation is and whatnot? I don't
No,
know.
it came from you.
Okay.
Well, we might be able to,
Yeah,
because
we
it would
could
be, in the old file.
But my residence was there, and I was an operating caregiver store out of my house, so, and that's in the statute. And my
And it would be
legal
home
residence is there, so I was a home occupation.
It is not a home occupation now?
So it's a change in use.
No, it's not.
That's no, it's not, or is it?
I'm sorry,
I don't wanna answer whether I live there or not live there to know if people are gonna be coming or going, or if I'm there or not
It
there.
needs a site plan review.
If it's a home occupancy, you can't have any employees.
well,
As a caregiver?
As a home occupancy, you
as-
cannot have,
it's not statute, it's code. This
which comes out of the
lovely
state.
thing here.
That comes out of the state.
Is there any way?
There,
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I don't
Go ahead.
know.
My thought, may I speak?
Absolutely.
My thought is that we should request that, Ben, you go back to the planning board because of the fact that you are expanding. You are looking to.
I'm not expanding, nothing's changing.
So just so I can quickly clarify, the planning board, all it's gonna do is just have them file, like, you have locked doors, you have lights downcast.
And I always have abided by the
So it
rules
should
of the
take, like,
town.
2
Yeah.
seconds.
But it's not gonna take 2 seconds, it's gonna be months and months and months if we can't even get planning board members to come. My meeting here got pushed back, so it's affecting my business. And under the rules of the state, when I put this forward, there's a timeline, so if we wanna get legal and,
Well, have we not done the timeline for your
Well, we'll check
application to
it
be
all.
reviewed here?
well, that's the point, you
No.
shouldn't have brought it here.
You brought it when? When was this application brought to you? Before? At the beginning of the month? Or the end of
I
September?
don't know the exact day, we had it scheduled for the meeting that was moved to last week.
Sure.
And then
And we
we wanted
had
clarification,
how
so
long?
we moved it to this one.
And we have 45 days to act on, things that are coming into the office, or
I don't know.
The date of the
exact-
application is September 18th.
September 18th.
This is the medical marijuana business, right?
Correct.
This is medical marijuana,
comes
and,
under state guidelines.
Yes.
That's how medical marijuana businesses originated. When this all started years ago, medical marijuana businesses did not have to have town approval for anything. Towns were not even notified by the state that a medical marijuana business existed in that town. Towns had no say at all about medical marijuana businesses. So now the state's requiring this form to be signed.
Just the form, saying
So-
that you know I'm here.
They, with a medical marijuana business, in another town I was in, the residents in a given neighborhood would not even know that a medical marijuana business was next door unless they saw something to indicate it. But the town had absolutely no say whether that medical marijuana business could be there, because it was strictly the approval of the state. So whether the town wanted it there or not, the town had no jurisdiction to do that. They would go, the medical marijuana businesses had to go to the state, go through a series of checks and balances and applications. Once they were approved, they could have their medical marijuana business wherever the state approved it to be.
And we proved the security and we
With
proved
no
the site.
approval from the
Okay.
town.
From
or
the state, we've
From the
already
state.
done it. They come and inspected us the other day. They're here all the time.
Great. So I think my request with this personally, and you know, board's discretion, he showed me a license that had the correct address on it. The one that we have in our packet says, no location provided, no retail location provided, and this is why I'm
But
like,
that's-
what's going on?
Yeah. Well, because of the, and that's,
So if I had the one that you gave me, that
yeah,
had the
I
location.
sent it all forward, so I don't know
Okay.
if it didn't get
That's
printed or
fine.
whatnot.
So I think just send that one to John.
Yep.
But because it's a storefront,
Probably
it's open
would
to
be.
the public, does he not have a license
It's-
in town?
It's not open to the public though,
You
it's
said it
open to
was.
his patients.
So we have in our code,
That's right.
we do have article.
Right, I can't go in there and be like, I'm
No.
gonna buy some
Anyone
weed.
with the
Unless you're a medical
Right,
patient, then
that's
it's
still
patient
to the public.
confidentiality.
So are you looking to be a caregiver retail store?
I'm looking to do nothing differently than I'm doing right now. I just wanna hang my open flag. I've always been a caregiver providing
It's a
to my
storefront.
patients in
But
that
it's,
location.
so I think we need to look at our code, Article 8 of the marijuana ordinances. There is a medical marijuana caregiver retail stores. Now, whether, maybe grandfathered, that I don't know.
Definitely. I'm way
Yeah.
past the time of
That was
grandfathering.
sorry, Michelle.
I think that's what we're talking about.
100% past
Yeah.
it, so there's
Before
not even an argument of it
2017.
Or,
before.
right, or now that it's changing, because it's putting up,
There's no changes. It's a
Putting up-
renewal of my existing license. From
is
the
it,
state.
is there a storefront?
Yeah, I've
But
always
there was,
done.
I think what he's saying is there was a storefront before, but it was by appointment only, so he just wants to be like, I'm there, I'm gonna put up my flag, you can stop in if you're driving
Exactly.
by."
If you're already driving by and I'm sitting there, instead of making them call, I'm just gonna put up my
But it was
flag.
still the same, like either way, they could have called and said,
There-
hey, I'm coming over, and he'd be like, okay, scurry, here I am.
Yep.
And now it's just like, oh, the flag's there, so he's in there, so I'm gonna stop. So it's just the not talking to him constantly.
Yeah. It's just easier for the patients
Yeah,
versus having to wait for me to.
I think I'm understanding.
Yeah, I look at the definitions, in America, a medical marijuana caregiver retail store, a storefront operated by a licensed medical marijuana caregiver, which is operated in a facility separate from his or her personal address for the purpose of selling medical marijuana and related products to qualifying patients.
So what are you saying?
So what I'm saying is that, I don't know with the change of becoming a storefront, if that kicks in a new town permit. That I don't know, and I don't know if we need to get, advice on. I mean, I understand the
It's a
medical.
whole new
the
location, it's not where he was before.
No, it was where he was before.
I've always
No,
been
He was not
existing.
selling out of that building before.
I've always sold out
was.
of that building. I've always
What he's
had.
saying is nothing's changed. I think there's potential that the person who was doing the cultivation facility and the back barn there just kind of lied a little bit on their application. And that's what's causing confusion. As far
I
as
don't
what
know
was
if there
going
was
on in that
any,
space, that
I
has
don't know if
nothing to
any
do
of
with
that,
yeah, it has
was
nothing to do
happening.
with you, but
Yeah.
I think that's what's throwing everyone off, is
No.
because it's what's throwing me off. It's what threw me off when I first looked at it, because it looked like a brand new
Yeah,
everything to me.
yeah.
He's located on the West Bethel Road?
He's, at the mill,
At Fabro's old factory, that
Yeah.
red gate
I don't
at
know what
West
that is.
Bethel's
Where's-
furniture
Before
factory.
just
Mountain
before
Greenery.
Mountain Greenery. What's
Used
it?
to be
The old West Bethel
so-
furniture factory. You know
Yeah.
me, Frank. Yeah.
You know me.
I know you.
I eat with you. We have breakfast, Mr.
Yeah.
Chapman.
Keep the customer trained.
Yeah. No, I'm not, it doesn't have anything to do with what I. But yeah, no,
Okay.
that factory right there that we've been renovating, I've had it for,
Jim, yeah, you're on the planning board, do you have a opinion?
Just if you show, continue her piece, you show it's under 46-113 required.
Dash
I think-
114.
Yeah, I think that's where it's, I think that may answer some of it.
You said 4614?
113, 46-113, which is under chapter 8.
It's so many dashes.
I mean, it may just be that this is not our, because you've never had it come to us from it before, so this may just be that this is not a renewal, that this is new, but doesn't necessarily constitute him having to go to the planning board.
Yeah.
Right, because he's grandfathered because of the,
Because of the facility, the building.
I think the thing that complicates things from, and definitely from the planning board side, and I think from you guys' side, is it sounds, and I could be misunderstanding this, but it sounds, we see that as one piece of property and one thing going on.
Yeah,
And we only, when it came to the planning board, it was only talked about
one section,
one
one
business
use,
being going on,
yeah.
and now there's multiple businesses and multiple things going on. You know, I'm confused.
Yeah. And also if it's multiple things, I don't even wanna
It's
get
how
into
much
it.
of this is intercrossing and causing the
Yeah,
confusion.
Lori,
I think the biggest thing here is the state has changed its rules.
mhm,
And it's not that the business is doing anything different than they were before. It's the state has changed their rules, so now he is here to just renew what he's been doing all along. But he has to have this extra form because of
that
the
says,
state's new
as a local,
rules.
yeah, okay.
Does that mean, the question is the flag, you want an open flag,
mm-hmm.
and this is what brings up the question is the flag a marker? Or is, of that you're there, or is it a form of advertisement? So that you're trying to draw somebody off the street into your business, because that changes the business. Because the business is, presently, you've stated, was by appointment only. If the flag is, the purpose of the flag, well, hear me out.
No.
The purpose of the flag is to attract new business to you, then that's a change of use. If you are practicing, as you say, as you were last year, that your business is clients who know you're there are coming to you, those are the people that you are dealing with, that's doing the same thing.
Yep.
Did I make myself clear? If you are now advertising that you're there to create new business outside of appointments, that's a change of use. So that's a question that I have. Are you changing the use underneath those terms, or no?
I don't think that's a change of use. I think a change of use because he's still having people enter through his front door, purchase something at a register, and leave. Whether it's 20 people or 100 people, it's still a business. There is parameters around daily use for home occupation. So when he was in home occupation, if he did this, yes, he would definitely have had to.
But he's changing it from home occupation.
But he's not changing it. Someone else said that on his behalf.
No, he's changing the way of doing business, and I'm not criticizing. he now is operating as a storefront. Certain hours are available, people can come in at their will, and, so that does constitute, in my opinion, a caregiver retail store, which is
Because
great.
it's open to, it's
It-
publicly used.
Right, and we do have, guidelines for a medical marijuana caregiver retail store, but for me is, it sounds like we would just do, instead of a renewal, it would be, he's now operating as a caregiver retail store, which is new. And my only piece is, doesn't sound, I don't know about the planning board part of it. I think for our issuing the permit, it's new, it's a new, behavior, new performance is being done. My only question is in regards to the planning board piece of it, and it says here, when you do have a medical marijuana caregiver retail stores, the building requirements is A, planning board review. The planning board shall review all applications for building permits for the construction of a new medical marijuana caregiver retail store or permission for the change of use of an existing building to a retail store. So it's not a new building. I just don't know about, permission to change of use, and is there a change of use?
So under
I don't know.
Site plan, change of use shall occur with either of the following occurs as determined and documented by the planning board. A, proposed use significantly affects the performance standards as defined. And then it goes into performance standards. Stricter standards as defined, special regulations apply to proposed use. Or substantial enlargement or substantial alteration. So I guess the question is, what performance standards are being changed by people walking in as lit, cause there's potential that he might get more customers.
It's not substantial.
But it's not substantial, and I don't think I think it's really the convenience of being like, I'm here, come in, as opposed to creating a new, like, you probably have established clients that come into you, correct? Okay, so it's just gonna be them the same as they would call him, they just don't have to call him, they can just come in because they see the flag. I personally don't think it affects the performance standards enough to fall under the change of use. I definitely am getting thrown off by the many different businesses on the same site, 100%. And the license that was included in your packet didn't have the location, but the one that you showed me did, so if that was there. And then I also didn't see an ID in your application, which is also a requirement. So if just the application can be complete, then
I think based on the ordinance, so we're safe to approve it as it stands.
I think so. I think that the application itself needs a little, like, completion, and that's written right in our marijuana ordinance, like, write down, like, the things that you need. And, like, those are the things that I'm not seeing, that's why, but I'm sure, like, it's not that for you to scan your ID.
No, I should.
You're like, I'll send it right now. So that's where I'm at with this, but, I mean, if someone else has it.
Are you sure that, I'm sorry,
Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead. Are you sure that that's
You
not?
mentioned, you mentioned that one of the license doesn't have the location, but in the agenda packet online, there are two. One has no location, but the other one does have 518 right on it.
So the one that has 518 is the caregiver location, and then this one is the individual care.
And this one says 515.
Yeah.
So, okay, wait, what's the difference between 518 and 515?
Yeah, I was a little.
One's across
I was
the street,
gonna say, one of them's on the wrong side of the road.
and there's nothing on the other side because the road goes.
Right.
Well, no, they're
Okay, so maybe I should take a little picture.
So the name of the business that owns the mill is 515 West Bethel Road. And when we bought it,
Business.
Fabro
Oh.
had 515 on the front
Monster
door.
did that.
If anyone remembers, he had that.
No.
So I thought that was the number when I first bought it.
Okay.
I got to closing. And I was like, you're saying the address is 518?
Okay, so
And that's
that,
the
like, on
story.
your DOT, it's 518.
Well, yeah, on the commercial lease, it says property address is 518,
Okay,
and the lease agreement is for 515.
yep. But that's the
Oh,
LLC.
The
It's the name of
LLC.
the LLC.
Wow.
Ah,
Yeah.
I get it. It all makes sense now.
Yeah.
Not
Jim.
not to throw a wrench in it, and
Oh.
I'm not trying to,
Yeah.
because I just read this about 6 times, it was very confusing. The whole state marijuana side is confusing,
Yes.
but the state does, for medical marijuana, for caregiver retail store, they do list out certain things in their guidelines, and size, and how much you can have, and where, which is smaller than
Sure.
what
Which is
a full-blown
Tiers, that's for
retail.
adult use.
Yeah, that's,
Tiers is
that's
a
not
different
medical.
program.
That's not.
Medical, where,
Well, that's under the,
Tiers is for growing.
Well,
yeah.
there's,
Yeah, that
yeah.
was.
Oh, maybe Bethel has tiers too,
Yeah,
is
it
that
was-
how
it
it
was
is?
So tier one.
We
it's
do.
state stuff,
Tiers
and
is for
that's
Oh,
why-
it is.
We do too.
We do, yeah.
That's why I'm very confused, and I
Well,
don't
Make a
wanna,
motion.
Well,
For,
I
for
don't
me
wanna-
is, this is the first
I'm
time
not
this
trying to
kind of
derail it
conference
or
is doing, so this is a
anything.
new,
it just,
new
it's
permit,
confusing.
which is fine. Fine
Does
with
it
me.
change the actual,
This is the first time that he has to come in his behavior and performance of what's doing. So to me, it's a new permit. He's never had to come here.
sure,
But it's a
I
new
don't
permit.
and
understand,
the,
And then to take care of,
maybe they can ship better
but then for the
license.
planning board, I can't speak for the planning board to cover everybody's basis, is he just goes to the planning board and asks for applicability, determination, applicability. I mean, I mean, that answers everybody's questions. Well, and it, yeah, and it's, you know,
Sharon, do you have a recommendation for this? What do you think, boss?
Yeah, I still think it's
well,
confusing. It's very confusing.
the whole thing with all of this topic has been confusing since day one because the laws change
So
all the
frequently,
time.
yeah.
And the current state
And we
law
have-
is even more confusing.
Right.
And that's what I've got up right now.
And state law has changed so many times too,
Yeah.
It just
and then
changed
towns have
recently.
got to abide by, you know, a lot of state laws. But what he's asking for right now is to continue operating the way he does. Basically, the only difference is he's a medical marijuana storefront. Before, people couldn't come in and just come in, they had to call and make an appointment. That's the only change to this. Nothing else. Because he originally got his approval from the state.
Past applicants that we would have come in, or would come in to the planning board. I know their medical side has to be separate
Right,
from other retail.
right.
No, I know, right,
So, they would say, hey, we are doing this, like, they would say, hey, we're doing the medical and the storefront, so I think that kinda confuses me, where I'm starting to understand better, and I agree with,
okay.
on the planning board side, I think I'm agreeing with where it's coming from,
Alright,
but it's so confusing.
No,
so I get
it
it.
is confusing.
So
Super.
in reference to what you were talking about, there's one that has the location, but the expiration date on it was 2018. So this is the proof that he can be grandfathered at that location,
Yeah.
which is great. This one is his new card, and it has no retail location provided. However, he has a picture of a new one that has the location. So I want this one
Yeah.
out of here, and I want the one that has the location and the expiration date that's valid in the application. And then I want his ID in here because that's what our town code requires.
Right,
Yeah.
and I think that was just overlooked.
Boom. That's what I want.
It's just.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
It's just
One of the more.
All right.
I'm like, I'm just walking circles, I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm just wondering.
Okay, so I would make a, well, does anybody else wanna make a motion? If not, I'm gonna make a motion that, we approve this. We approve this application as a new application, for, and it's just new to the town, not to you.
Well, make
A new application for 5/18, you are wrong. Okay. Your cover letter is wrong too, man.
I'm sorry. It's new for me too.
It's okay, I forgive you. 518 West Bethel Road, for caregiver Benjamin Crudo to, use his facility as a medical marijuana store, is that what we're calling it? Is that the verbiage?
It's medical marijuana caregiver retail store.
Medical marijuana caregiver retail store, and, yes,
I
what,
think you just wanna clarify so that it's on the record right, because you said it's a new application.
I did say that.
I know, and then it's not new to him, but make sure that that on our side that we realize it's a town application.
To the grandfather new application.
Yeah.
Good.
So
That's much better.
Here's a word sandwich. To the grandfather new application for, medical, where are you?
Just, I copied that right from the, what's on the agenda, I copied that right from the application.
So what's all this conversation?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna question, which is the correct address.
That's what was on the application for a storefront.
For just the storefront though.
Yeah.
See if the board will go to the adult use.
Can we just have a verification of
You
which,
can just say, what is it,
I have to say the one that
Find
he's
the
signing up
application.
for.
Here it is, I've
got it right here. Yes,
can we have a verification of what
I just need
the
this.
school location address is?
yes, it's 518, West Bethel Road.
Why is everything 515 on?
Because it's the LLC that owns the complex, and they're ruining everything.
So then what's the new
So-
LLC?
A business that
Okay.
occupy, or business that
So there are
operates.
two LLCs involved.
Yep,
Okay, right.
Always with these applications,
oh,
always.
Just make sure that
Okay,
So the new mill LLC is the
So-
care,
caregiver, correct,
and then the 515 is the property owner.
correct, that leases to,
So-
you know.
I would make a motion, and I'll go really slow for you, Jess, 'cause it's gonna be a rough one. I would like to approve the new application, new grandfathered application for 518 West Bethel Road, New Mill LLC, as a marijuana retail store, adult and medical, or just medical, take adult out, I guess. And so that he can operate his storefront, is that, or just to sign the form allowing him to operate his storefront?
That's it. It's just
Somewhere
a
in
simple
there-
form.
There is a sentence.
Alright, so
You can make it.
What I have is Merrill Kelly,
Oof.
motion to approve the new grandfathered application for 518 West Buffalo Road, New Mill LLC, as a marijuana medical something, so
Mix.
that he can operate as a storefront.
It's the one that he's clicked off here.
I think it's important to get caregiver in there.
Caregiver is
Yeah.
important, yeah.
That's the
And
key,
marijuana
and I
medical
see that, that's.
caregiver.
Cause that's his license,
Yeah, caregiver,
caregiver.
yeah,
Okay.
can operate
Which we
as a
should.
storefront.
Special term for that. Alright,
Well, yeah, there's a couple things with the application I just need to be done. Yeah, because we just clump
Okay.
it, retail, like, for medical and adult, we don't.
That is one I will make sure that Sharon gets.
Okay, so
Who is seconding?
as far as we know, there was no change of use from living quarters to a store, but if it turns out that there was one, you might get asked to do a determination of applicability from the planning board. That's not on us though. That's my motion.
I'll second.
Any other thoughts? Okay, all those in favor? Yes. Thank you, for that.
Yeah, I'm sorry it's so confusing. I'm
We're
glad we're through this hurdle now.
One day,
Well,
One
we
day
never
this will
have to
make
do
sense.
this again, yeah.
every time I do these, I feel like I need like a flow chart, like,
Me too,
okay,
yeah.
okay,
That might
okay.
be not be a bad idea.
Yeah, really.
No, that's the second.
Alright, cool, that's done. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
And good luck with
appreciate it.
your flag. Okay, so, right back into it, guys. To see if the board will vote to, 11C is to see if the board will vote to approve the adult use of medical marijuana stores, cultivation facilities, manufacturing facilities, testing facilities, and dispensary application for in and out of the garden grow for Gabriel Stupini at 421 East Bethel Road. Okay, same deal, so Gabe was in here this year for the cultivation, correct? Thank you. Did he expand the footprint of his area to put a retail store in it?
No, this is just, yeah,
Please.
yeah, so, this one here is, this is the garden grow. I believe he's just the same facility, operating the same same practice, just renewing his license.
He's just renewing?
I believe that's,
I thought he was just cultivation over there.
I thought he was too.
It's supposed to
Is it a flow chart thing where there's like, well, no?
Yeah, because
Okay.
when we got fired a couple months ago.
Cultivation facility and dispensary. Okay.
Why didn't he check off the boxes and people find?
It's real flippant with the check boxes, I swear. Okay,
Okay,
okay.
he has marijuana dispensary here.
So dispensary, cultivation, it's the same. So why is he back before?
It's something that.
he has to, they have to renew their, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, these are the forms that we're renewing with the
Yes,
state,
it's a
correct?
state, same form that
Same
Ben
form.
had to, it's the same situation as Ben's.
Okay.
Now the state requires that the towns sign those forms.
Oh, okay, so this is just hopping back to the
Yeah.
state. We've already sent him through, he's already done site plan, he's already
yeah.
done all these
Oh, yeah.
licenses, we've already done this with him. So this is the same exact form.
It's the same form.
Sweet, so
Same
this
thing.
is just the state needs
you're
a
gonna get a
little
bunch
like,
of them.
oh, they're allowed, okay, okay.
And they're gonna come from
And
everywhere.
they're gonna be coming from all of them.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
gonna
Okay,
come.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So
But there is-
is there a copy of the form in here?
Way to start the problem.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Enjoy
sorry
it.
you're the first one to have us be like, what is happening?
That's how I felt, I was blown away.
Yeah.
You think that, you should try to, one of
So
them.
this is.
I know nothing about marijuana.
That is the state
Because he's
form for
got it.
Ben.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it is, I've got the same.
You will not
one
bring
in
it
the
back.
hatch.
Yep.
She just didn't include that
Put it
in
in
their
the marijuana
packets.
dispensary, yeah.
I think it's just because we've never seen it before, so we
It's
have
because
no idea what's going
It's
on.
brand new. All of these businesses now have to have that.
As of 9/28/23.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm
Yeah.
not
Brand
crazy.
new.
It used to have a third page to it, but they eliminated.
Alright,
So there is a resale certificate in the packet. Does that mean he's doing,
that's the dispensary that I think. Right?
Thank you, everybody.
Take care, Ben.
Appreciate
Enjoy
it.
your life.
Yeah, thank you.
So this one sounds like it's a direct function, there's no change.
No change.
It is a direct correlation just to these new,
Yeah.
It's just in the
Forms.
state, yeah.
yeah.
And this is one, like, he's all been square with us, with the
Yes,
town.
there we go.
That one was confusing because he'd never
It
come
changed,
before.
right, right, so, if we're gonna get, what would be nice, kind of the next meeting is to have a list of who already is in play, how
Yeah.
many we have and who's already in play.
A master
And for what-
list of marijuana places.
Yeah, and what category they're all in. And then I think what ends up happening is they just bring these forms to us, right, like a liquor license,
And then
and
we'll
say,
feel very obvious.
and then we,
So we'll know the
okay.
difference between new and just,
Right,
Well, we've already
right, we'll
done
have
it.
our, we'll-
I
And
can do that.
on the spreadsheet that's created, it will tell exactly what category.
Yeah.
I've seen how towns have, put those spreadsheets together, and it really does make it a lot less confusing.
because they're not even renewing, their year isn't even up.
yeah, they're just,
said
all
we're
these guys are
gonna-
doing, are saying, hey, state, we're still here.
Yes, that's what.
Got it.
is,
So
yeah.
I would make a motion that we, sign the, how do we say it, we approve the adult use and medical, what's the name of that form?
Meryl, I was just gonna say that, maybe you could just say
Reference
what the
form,
form
yeah.
is.
So do you wanna do that with the previous one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we do.
Do you wanna do the other one?
Well,
No,
no,
I
that
don't
was
wanna do
different
that.
because it
Okay,
has,
this one.
it's new for us.
Alright, so that one's staying this
So,
way.
yeah, that one is confusing because it was confusing.
They're all gonna be this new form.
That's
But not our
fine,
new, not
but,
our new permit.
but like if Mike Everett comes in with this new form, we've already done all the things right.
Right.
We don't have to worry about him,
And
no
Gabe is
problem.
the same
Yeah,
way,
Gabe's the
yeah.
same, he's been here through all the things.
We just didn't have a mechanism for it.
All right.
So, yeah.
So,
Okay, can we just, one other thing?
sure,
On this page, it says page 43 up the top right-hand corner, and it's about permit fees. He's crossed off 15,000, he's crossed off 1,500, and someone's written in 500.
Yeah,
Is
I was
this,
wondering,
what you doing over there, John?
I-
You going rogue on us?
No,
You
I
giving
was
people
told that
discounts?
the fee was $500.
So
Yeah,
there was
it was changed.
it was,
right, it was.
The board changed
but the
it.
fo- What
In
my point
2020
is the forms need to be changed.
yes.
Yes.
That's my
Yeah.
point.
Great.
Okay. That's it.
So, sorry, it's just because I'm new to it, so he's only a marijuana dispensary?
Yes.
Should we probably get a motion?
But why would he have to pay a permit fee?
He's not, we're just forwarding this to the
Right, right,
state.
right,
right.
This is the
So he's
form
not
that's
paying
going,
anything.
Yeah.
yeah,
The
he's
only
not
person
doing
who paid
anything.
was the first.
but that was part
He's
of,
already paid it,
yeah.
and we're just saying, hey, he's here, and we know he's here with this form. This is the actual thing that maybe would have been good.
Right.
But anyways,
Do you have his? Do you have this?
I do.
Dave's,
New
I
milk?
don't have it on me, I just have it in my office, I can grab it.
Because isn't that what has to be signed?
No, that is
Mm.
done.
You actually.
no, you just need a notary.
Yes.
You just have to approve.
Do we
it.
even need to do this?
I think it's on the front, says,
These are two
does it say
copies.
municipal?
It can be signed by.
Statutory guidance for
I'm
municipal
happy to make a copy
officers,
of it.
municipality, authorized municipal, subdivision.
So these applications, this is what this is.
Basically,
These
what-
two.
I don't know if we actually need to look at these.
Yeah,
Does it say
this
we
is
have-
what we're getting at.
Mhm.
No,
I
no,
want this one.
This is what I
This is
have that
what
needed
she
to be
needs.
signed.
to be signed.
Ooh, can I see that one?
Um,
I'm sorry.
It should be in your packet.
Oh, no, this is the packet.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
I'm just
okay.
saying, these are mine that I, where it said. This is,
So,
That's kind of,
so what,
I thought there was a state of Maine form.
so what
Right.
does,
She has that.
what does Dave
Yes.
need? This form signed, the permit to be
Hello.
displayed.
yes,
So
and then
this is
there's
a
another
permit.
one underneath
Yeah.
also had,
That's okay with
But is he only coming to us because of the changed form of the state?
I guess why is he in front of us? Is he changing something? Cause he was in front of us and March? John, why is this application, Gabe's application, permit to be displayed on premises? What is this permit for? Why is this before us? What is this?
So when the state comes in to inspect his facility, that permit is displayed on the premises as far as
And so when we did this and took his fee previously,
yes.
why did he not get a permit?
I mean, I'm just trying to renew what he had done previously. He came in and the operation, if you're talking new mill, are you talking the new in and out?
In and out.
Yes,
Yeah, we're done with that one.
okay.
No more talking
So-
about it.
I'm trying to, can you tell me, ask me the question again, what is it that you're looking for?
Are you talking about the resale certificate?
No, In and Out is before us with renewal for their permits for the town of Bethel.
Did
And
we-
is this genuinely a renewal, or is this trying to fit into that new state form?
As far as I understand, Michelle, that the local authorization form that the medical marijuana places are providing, the page that's there, that form is what they need to renew their license with.
Okay, so this isn't
What does it
that
require?
that special, that isn't that
What it
special case
requires
law.
though is in order to renew their license, they have to have shown that they have been a previous business, and which would be the packet that goes with that.
A previous business before 2017 or something.
No, that they're operating, they've been operating as a business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they
So
don't really
this-
necessarily need to go, I believe, by my understanding, they don't necessarily need to go in front of the select board. It really needs to, all they need to do is fill out the local authorization form. I fill out a section of that, it gets notarized and then sent to the state for a new license. Then the new license comes to the medical facility. That's my understanding. I don't see where they have to fill out the whole new application process and it go back to the select board unless they're expanding or making a new facility.
So what I think is happening, I don't think these new forms need to go before us. If they've already gotten their permit, do we not?
Do we have a form? Do we have their form?
I guess,
That local authorization form is the form that I get, that's it, that's
No.
the form that I have, and then
So I
I
guess
pull
I'm
up their
confused.
file.
We get,
That's
these
it.
are brought in and they've been signed.
Yep.
For both of them.
so,
Is that the change of this from the state?
That's the new form from the state.
so
So
it's,
where's their form from the state?
Okay, I'll go grab it.
The local the one we just went through, right, Jess?
Yes, I'm gonna go grab it.
Because
Sorry,
these are coming for the town's permits. And whether it's a new one or a renewal and is done annually, and this is the form and this is the requirements that we have to go through. It sounds like the state has this new form, which is in the middle of the year of these persons. So they aren't necessarily renewing now, they just need our authorization for this new form, right?
Yeah.
I
And
didn't-
And
I think
I
they're
didn't
just,
think we need to
they're
hold
just proving that they've come up to the state's requirements.
I guess it's
I
like,
don't even know if we really need to be involved in this.
His registration.
if I may speak, that's
Right.
what I'm starting to get the understand. The only time really, I mean, I'm still new at this, Pat, so I'm still going through the training and everything else to try. But what I've experienced so far going through the process is the select board process is when they're applying for a new or expanding into their facility. So they're going from caregiver to now recreational or medical, right?
I don't see the reason
So,
for us to be involved in
John,
this.
do you have, are these files easy access for
Yes.
you? Okay, can you grab Gabe's permit, the one that I'm pretty sure we did a renewal for him this
Is
year.
it in and out, the one you're looking?
In and out, yeah.
It's Gabe's Tapini, so,
Yeah, in it.
yes, I think he only runs one business, but Lord knows.
Isn't this what you're looking for?
So what I'm looking for is, so
It's
we have
down
it,
on 10/3/23, Town of Bethel.
right,
Yeah.
so,
Dispensary
but
cultivation.
I'm not sure he needs to submit this. I don't
Right.
think the permit is, I think this is why we're getting confused, I don't think I think they need that, and what they need to do is they need to attach this bit to show that they're in business in our town to the state application.
Right.
So Jess signs it, he signs it, has nothing to do with us.
Exactly.
And then
That's what I'm thinking,
this
but
gets complicated even further.
go.
This form, both for in and out, and then also is only for caregiver.
Right.
Oh, so it,
That's what it is.
So it has, it doesn't even have anything to do with the other
at
one.
all.
No.
Okay.
It has
Okay.
nothing to do with
So it has to do
business.
with this guy, it has nothing to do with Gabe.
So is
Thank you.
Gabe or in and out, are they a
Did Gabe-
caregiver?
Yes.
Okay.
They are a caregiver.
According to their license in the packet.
Okay, now, when they came before, the board before, were they a caregiver?
Yes.
And that was what they're
It was a
authorized.
spring.
Yes.
How do we know they're caregiver? Sorry, I'm
It would have been on their original permit, and that's what I'm trying to
Not on
find,
this
right?
one.
In
No.
the packet, there is a license with
Right,
Gabe
there's
on
a
it,
retail
and it
license.
does say caregiver on it.
Here's kind of one of the confusing parts about these applications is like, first they'll come in with cultivation, then they'll come in under a new LLC, under an umbrella organization that's their dispensary, then they'll come under the LLC again with a new name that's their caregiver. So it's all just like, it's the same entity, but it's all these little offshoots, and that's why this is so confusing every single time it comes before us, and even more confusing when the state rolls out brand new rules.
Here.
We don't know how to roll them out.
Right here.
Yeah,
I see that.
But we'll figure it out.
Why doesn't?
Okay. Cultivation. I wish, this is the first time Gabe's never not come.
I know. He's always at these
He's
meetings.
always here for his.
Yep.
Poor guy.
Yeah, that actually will be key, because he has here his renewal,
Mhm.
even if he's already had a renewal, his renewal, he only has for cultivation and dispensary.
Yeah, that's all I have to
So
hear.
where is it listed
No.
here?
6.
This spring was his renewal for his caregiver.
So was it under a different name? Is that why we're messing up?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Find it, there's no,
So is
You
that
have to
spring?
go to
So this one is,
every single
Well, that's what the other guy
individual
was.
packet,
Yeah.
search for it, search
for
for
his
general,
dispensary.
the whole.
Yeah.
Dispensary.
This one's tier 1
When was
cultivation.
that?
It was in either February or March.
Was it that far back?
Yeah.
I've never wanted
For
my.
what?
I think it was March, it was this spring.
Why don't we
Okay.
just table this until we can get a little clarification? This isn't gonna mess him up too much if we make him wait. You don't know?
Well, if you find
His
out that
retail
he does.
certificate is dated February 2020 through December 2023.
That's the
Why do we
one.
have to table it?
Because I don't know what the process is, and it feels silly to just forge ahead with,
The process, I think, is something that we don't need to be involved in. It's just something that they need to work out with the state. The town is not involved in it because we don't have to approve it.
Here, you actually have to, statutory guidance for municipalities. And they have the statute, a municipality may regulate registered caregiver retail stores within a municipality and may not permit a registered caregiver retail store to operate within that municipality unless the municipality legislature has voted to adopt or amend an ordinance or warrant article allowing the operation of a registered caregiver retail store within that municipality, or unless that registered caregiver retail store has been continuously operating as a registered caregiver retail store by the same caregiver within that municipality since
You guys-
before
That one.
December 13th,
So he's
2018.
good. He's all set, because he was continuously running his medical caregiver,
Gabe was too.
but under what, because his whole,
Right, he may, if we don't,
I think.
he may
it's-
be in the same situation, a
Yeah,
new one,
but he didn't
Really screw
he didn't mark off medical caregiver on any of this, it's just dispensary and cultivation. So why does he have to have a state form, I guess?
On
which
his,
says,
on his retail, on his resale certificate, it says medical care right here.
I understand that, but it's not what his permit says for the town. And so if his permit doesn't say that, we can't tell the state that his permit says that, right? I'm really shooting from the hip, and that's why I wanna table it, cause I don't know, and I don't wanna deny something.
So why
That-
don't we have caregiver listed here in where it says
That's-
check the classification of medical marijuana?
So it would be under medical, but, I mean, my recommendation is now that with this form, we should add caregiver in case someone like him is coming in.
I
Because,
think they're all caregivers.
well,
No.
you have to, yes, you
No.
have to be a caregiver in order to have medical
Oh, the
marijuana.
medical, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, permission to
I know
speak.
that much.
From what I'm gathering, just some of the information, dispensaries are more for large corporate, big,
Right, you're
big
growing.
things. Yeah.
You're growing and
Yeah,
selling
and
to
we're more
storefronts.
focused around caregivers for medical and recreational. There's caregivers for medical and then there's recreational.
No, there's no caregivers for rec.
No, that's what I'm saying, there's nothing for rec, but there's caregivers for medical.
Right.
Right.
And that's what we basically have, are caregivers that
Right.
sell medical marijuana.
Right, but when you have a permit, right, there's fees attached to certain things, and his permit doesn't state medical or adult use. His permit says dispensary and cultivation, I believe.
And then, like you said, there's the caregiver that's been in existence, but it changes according to our code once they have a storefront, because we have caregiver retail stores.
So
Here,
what,
are you visual?
It's-
I'm visual. Do you wanna see? it?
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get to what I need to go back to him and ask him for what.
The same thing as this other guy did?
No, because he's a caregiver and he checked off caregiver on his permit.
Where is the check mark?
So on the permit,
He checked.
on the second page,
He made a mistake
town
because he
of
is a caregiver.
Bethel,
This.
So he
classification.
would almost be like this guy. if there's-
Never mind.
It's under the medical.
It's under the medical.
Which implies caregiver.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Got it. I
It
understand.
does, that's what I'm looking.
Yeah,
So
well,
if
that's,
it says-
that's what
I
was
get it, I
stated.
get it, I get it.
Was that
So it's right
you
here.
must,
Yeah, I get it.
apparently, you must be a
Okay.
caregiver to be medical.
So I'll make the motion that we approve this, this application, what are we calling it? This application for adult use medical marijuana stores, cultivation facilities, manufacturing facilities, testing facilities, and dispensary application for in and out of the garden grow for Gabriel Sakini, 421 East Bethel Road.
Second,
Any other thoughts? All in favor?
So what is it? Is it that state form that
Yeah.
we're doing, or this permit?
It's the state form.
But are we
Why is the-
approving adult use?
no, no,
Because that's what it says.
and that's just a classification of, I know, it lists everything that it shouldn't, but that's what the permit paper says. And then they specify what it's for.
So those will go.
So this,
I think
this
that's
is,
the thing, is we're getting an empty permit on the top, so
See,
it feels like we're
it-
doing one
It
thing,
says,
and we're actually
all those
doing another.
classifications are on there, but then
So
you
is it
pick
this that
whichever
we're-
ones.
doing, or is it the
Why
state
is the
form?
board
No, it's
voting
just
on,
approving the state,
and
Yeah,
and what,
the
and
state
what
form.
exactly?
and you
is being
won't have to
voted on?
sign anything, you're just.
So-
So
Move
does this,
forward
does
with
this
now.
mean that Gabe is gonna get a new, or whatever?
He's not gonna get a new permit, what's happening?
Is his permit going to be updated to reflect the date change? Because you're
No.
approving it now?
Not his town permit,
Yeah, well, then what are you voting on?
on the state.
I think,
Yeah, what, again, what are you voting on?
I think it's just to
State
review an
permit.
application that needs to be submitted, and I don't think we need to, and I just asked our town manager to look into if we even
Okay.
need to ever look
Alright.
at these forms again, cause I would love to not.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, okay.
It's one of those. So
So this is again to comply for that state
John,
form.
take this away from me,
Yeah.
right,
Take
take
the
it
state
away,
form.
and get it away from me. Thank you so much. Where is Mike Everett when you need him?
I know.
So are you voting on anything?
No,
Motion?
We made a motion, oh yeah, all those in favor to approve this form? Great.
And,
What does that do?
It approves the state form, that's all it's doing.
They didn't say.
I'm
we've
sorry.
got feedback about
We're gonna-
spreadsheet.
Yeah.
All we can do is deal with what's in front of us.
I
Sometimes
think
it
what we
doesn't make
just did was acknowledge that we got it, and that
Okay.
it's, we acknowledge that we got it, and we're passing it along
Just have it
to
back.
do what they need to do with it.
Do we need a little water?
And we'll look at more.
But should we
All right.
state- should we
To
state?
see if the board will approve the application for automobile graveyard junkyard permit for Jeffrey Goodrow, doing business as Goodrow Repair, 560 Walker's Mills. The permit will expire November 2nd, 2024.
So why are we working on it if it's good for another year?
No, this will be for 2024.
Oh, the permit that we
Oh,
put in
this
place
permit,
right
yeah.
now.
Okay.
Okay.
Not you, it's
Um,
somebody else. Sorry.
I make a motion that we approve the application for the auto graveyard junkyard permit for Jeffrey Goodrow on 560 Walker's Mill Road.
Second.
Any questions?
So has it been expired, like it looks like it expired, so it's been
No,
a
the-
year?
Sorry, may I speak?
Absolutely.
So in the file that I could find with Goodrow's, I could find all of the licenses except the 2023. So I have found 2022, I don't know, maybe it just didn't get put in the file.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the select board
2024.
voted on it.
I'm sure you can check back in the notes to see.
Sure, and I looked through there,
Minutes.
and so that's how I was able to produce 2024, this will be the new license.
Okay, sweet. Any other questions? All those in favor of approving this? Great. In. To see if the board, 11E, to see if the board will vote to approve the sewer connection permit application for Mark Sweeney at 8 Spring Street.
Make a motion that we approve the
Okay,
sewer
that's
connection
Street.
permit application for Mark Sweeney at 8 Sprint Street.
Spring.
Spring.
It's
Mine
a
says
it's a
Spring.
little typo on the agenda, but the application is spring and spring is actually a street here, so that
Okay,
makes
so-
it.
I'll change
Not Sprint Street, I think, I know that's true.
it. 8
Spring
Spring
Street.
Street.
Please. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Excellent. Any thoughts on this?
Just a question, for bathrooms, is this a single family dwelling?
Yes, right now it's 2-bedroom, it's called a 2-bedroom, what, 6 bath, 4 bath, I'm sorry.
We're building it at Bethel Kitchen Design.
So it's a single dwelling?
Yes,
Thank you.
New or existing?
new,
On Spring Street. It's a brand new
8 Spring
building.
Street, a big house, family.
It's the one that's
Building.
got a right of way through,
The one way.
So
Mountain
non-social.
Socialist Park.
Yeah, no, I know what street it is.
Where the vacant lot was
So
forever.
he
Went
owns the
up
house.
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty quick, yeah.
Okay.
it's pretty, good,
All good? All those in favor? Great. Couple more ratepayers, let's go. To see if the board will, 11F, to see if the board will vote to approve the town manager or the town clerk to approve the following applications that do not require a public hearing in the event that they are needed and received prior to a scheduled select board meeting. Request for extension of license privileges for on-premise establishment, an application for special taste testing event license, a qualified catering organization application for catered functions. Alright, so we have 3 different applications before us. They do not require a public hearing. Can the town manager or the town clerk sign them in case they're needed in a rush in an emergency situation? So we don't have to call a special meeting.
So moved.
Alright, so it's on the table. Does anybody have any questions? Sarah did that second.
Yeah, just saying.
I just got overzealous and talked over her. I'm sorry. I said I got overzealous and talked over her, sorry.
For me, I'm not really inclined to do that. least not at this time. I know we had that one situation, but for the most part, we're meeting twice a month, and at this time, I'd rather not change for a single incident that happened. And fulfill responsibility to look at this stuff. That's me.
My only kind of counter to that is that in the application, some of the applications on the state website, it says that they have like 24 hours to notice, so it might throw people off if they have to actually get it 2 weeks in advance in order for us to sign it, and
This has been working like this for a long, long time. What's bringing it on now?
well, how many of these applications do we get a year? 2? 3?
So why would we change it?
Just out of convenience for
And,
business owners as we have more and more restaurants in town?
and to rush things is not always prudent. So if you're a restaurant, as I am,
Mm-hmm.
I know that it takes time for me to do this stuff, to get it out there in time. You only wait because you can. You don't wait when you can't, and then it gives the proper time to vet this stuff properly. And to be in a rush, for us to do our work in a rush, for no real reason other than convenience that isn't necessary, it's not wise.
These are for events though, right? Like they're not, it's
Yeah.
focused more on events, so.
In an establishment that already has a liquor
Yes.
license.
Right, like so.
Yeah.
Seems like, I don't know, like if they're, it's just
Like
for.
inconsequential.
I
Well, not
mean,
the
it
first
just,
one.
cause you may not even maybe get a request for a particular, to do a particular event until maybe 2 weeks before or something, and then
Yeah.
there wouldn't be enough time. You know,
That's-
like if
That's
you-
unheard of. People, when
I just
they
got
ask-
booked for next
Yeah,
weekend.
I just wanna say, I mean, we get requests to do events at the theater pretty, like, within 2 weeks for sure.
For sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
not that we're doing these kind of things, but I can see where it would
I mean, we are.
limit
local,
the ability of a business to take on, say, a party that could bring in business that's helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if they already have a liquor license and are, you know, they're saying they're gonna be responsible with alcohol.
And the first one is not a catering type of a situation with that 24-hour. The first one is like what we just had,
Right.
the last meeting. And that's impactful because that is extending out into another area that was not depicted before. So to go through the process, I think is a benefit. The public knows, they have a chance to speak. We're all informed, we're acting on behalf of the public. It brings that view and vision to it that might not necessarily be seen and become very mundane. So that's, you know, and maybe we might get to that point at some point, but I think now, as we're kind of resetting, that, for me, I don't wanna pass off that responsibility at this time. And because liquor is involved, that it is put on an agenda, public knows about it, and if anybody has any issues, they can come forward at the time that we discuss it, that's fine.
Do they have to do that for, like, any time they were gonna do an outdoor event? Do they have to do this application each time?
No,
Or are they now good for?
Now they're extended.
now they're extended,
I see.
and the next time they renew their regular liquor license, it
They
will
will
be
have-
inclusive,
For
yeah.
that one, then I can,
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, definitely
Yeah.
for the first application. Yeah, and I guess when it comes to alcohol, did you have something to say?
No,
Jess?
Jess wants to explain
Um,
something.
There was another instance that was before the Elizabeth, which was slightly different. She had planned, I don't know when she knew about her event, but she had planned it regarding 4th. Her event was a day or two after that.
I thought that was the other one.
No, it was another one that a woman, and it was a, event, I think it was the Riverview Resort.
What are the chances of 2 events, and we haven't even had a single event since we.
Yes. I thought that was a little interesting, but,
Let me see again.
so her, and it was like a single, that was the first one you signed, that was just it was a, I don't know, it was an artist retreat or something, and she was providing the food, and it was going to be a martini, some kind of special cocktail thing for the event. And she had it planned, looking at it, to come to us on the 4th, but because of Sharon coming on board and those extenuating circumstances, the meeting was changed to the 11th, which was a week after the event that she had contracted for and all of that. So that case, there would have been no way for her to come before us. She was trying to do what the correct thing was, what the catering permit needed. I did call the state before we even called Merrill, after she explained her situation, talked to the individuals, to the alcohol gentleman, she's a woman, and explained the situation, and she indicated that it did not require like a full board situation, that as long as the town, fell within what the town wanted, something like this, or okay, the town, they could take just the signature of just like Merrill in order to do it in this situation, and it was a very, we're not doing a whole liquor license renewal or a business thing, it was a singular event with a limited menu that, came into play because we changed our situation at the last minute. There would have been no way in that case for us to meet and discuss it as a board, and she would not have been able to do her that was a catering permit.
So I think like the solution that could work is that if ever these emergency situations arise, and hopefully they don't arise very often, if we do that, we also make a public notice that that event is happening here, this is what's going on in it, so like the public still has is privy to the information, that they still know like they got an extension on their license, they're gonna be having an event XYZ at this time to this time.
It's not an extension, it's a one-time event.
Well, I understand with
Yeah.
the catering one, I mean, just
Oh,
like
with the catering.
across the board, like if there's ever an emergency situation,
Like we just had.
like we just had, it doesn't have to be like if you can bring it before us, that's amazing, but the authorization is if it's in that situation, then they can sign for it, but there needs to be some type of notice made to the public so they know it was agreed upon, or it was permitted anyways. So then normally they would come to us if there's plenty of time, no big deal, we're the ones who sign it. But if there's a situation in which we move our date and we put someone kind of in a bind, the town clerk or the town manager can sign it, as long as we just put a notice on the website, hey, this event is happening here and here, if people wanna know about it. they
Where
can
is
read
this
it.
in the ordinance? Do we have?
There is, I'm talking about a policy.
Well, where's the ordinance that a restaurant has to come in because they're opening?
And then extension,
Well,
I don't think it's ordinance, I think it's statute, is it not?
It's involved with liquor,
License.
the state, and there's pieces, it has the catering piece. The state asks the licenses to come before the municipalities for the local approvals.
to be open when, to extend their hours? Is that what it is?
No, it's to extend the footprint of their liquor license, so like your liquor license is
So
just.
if it wasn't extending the footprint, there's no reason to come in to see us for an approval?
Correct.
Okay.
But, well,
Well-
they do, I mean, the other ones here too
I
are,
lied.
they're all catered functions, we just
For the catered
happen,
function.
happen to have a
Catering
memo.
function has to come before us.
No, you got,
I just found that out.
like,
Like, that's why I'm
I mean,
asking.
like any wedding that is catered is
supposed to come to us?
No, it's,
What is
It changes, if you don't have,
Say it again?
if you're gonna cater somewhere that's not in your defined space on the liquor license, then you would need this.
Oh, you mean when you
there's-
have a
Oh, so it's like an
catering
off-premise
business?
right,
theater.
if you don't have, if you don't,
Essentially, yeah, I mean, it could be on the property still, but
if you don't have
it's
any.
outside of the,
But you
Liquor
can
license.
adopt someone else's liquor license?
No, you have to have a liquor license in some capacity in this A, B, C, D, E, F that they
Right.
say.
Right.
And so if, say the Rotary Club is wants to have, an event and have liquor at it, and in my backyard, I don't have a liquor license. So what I would do is hire a caterer who has
An off-premise liquor license.
has whatever liquor license they need to do, and then that's covered to come onto my property to do it. So
Got it.
that's where these, and then there's these different event ones, you know. So those are even
There's-
more different.
Feeling
And
awful
there's,
guilty these days.
there's a number of people that don't do that. The ones that do are the
What?
minority.
Yeah,
That
but
actually
like,
will
how
come
do
and
people know
and
that
do what
they
they're
have
supposed
to
to do.
I would never know.
I know, and how do we, I mean, that's partly our responsibility, right, is to like inform the public that they
Yeah.
need.
But they might already have the particular license to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, the
so
Good
I-
Food Store already has the particular license to do what they're doing.
Right.
And so they don't, that's why that happens, but we don't
So
see
you're
it
saying,
here.
so you're
Right.
saying this is for a caterer who typically just has a food license
So
to adopt a temporary liquor
I
license?
think what happens is when it was at the Gem, remember we had that one at the Gem Museum?
Yeah.
That one time that we were gonna be late, it was, you know, right, it sat for 3 weeks and then we had to sign it right away. So at the Gem, and I don't recall exactly what application they had, but they had a one-time event and they were doing something, beer or
They
wine.
were doing a wine tasting or something.
Right, and they don't normally had it, so they did it even different. And I don't think they brought a licensed caterer in. I think they were doing this.
They got if I remember right,
Oh, this is in lieu of a license fee.
they got a
Yeah.
special license from the
Oh.
state
Yeah,
for
yeah.
that one time.
So
They had to
it
come and
doesn't
get
happen very
approval.
Oh,
very
right.
often, because most of the time,
That makes
Need
way
to
more
do that
sense.
either, like, I don't know, like, it's great that they knew they had to do that, but that's like.
This is just
There's
a
a lot
special-
more that
this is
goes on
special
there.
So
instances,
this,
it's not.
this motion that we're, and we, cause I think we're getting away, the motion is for us, select board, to give up approving these applications and give that responsibility to the clerk, the town clerk or town manager.
Oh,
That's
As the motion stands.
as the motion stands. So now we've gotten off the beaten track, and to bring it back to this, do we feel as though that it is in the best interest of the town? So that's the question I have.
but these are only special instances, it's not for every application that comes in.
So I think maybe.
Well, that's not what it's saying.
Yeah, I
That's-
think
this is
Frank
saying-
is correct in that it's saying every single one of these applications goes to the town manager and the town clerk instead of the select board. And maybe the motion or the amendment that we should make to that motion is in an emergency situation,
Only,
only the town manager and the town clerk can.
yeah, that's true, it's not written
Yeah.
in this,
But if there's enough time for us to do it, then we should absolutely do it.
right,
I
right,
don't think
it's
we
only
should.
it's only for when it's an emergency type thing, or not an emergency, but
You would tell a restaurant to not have an event because
I
of
would
time.
say at the present moment, I would keep things as they are. And I would keep a watchful eye on how it goes. We're talking about something that just happened, it doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah,
To change it, then it starts to get abused and it goes off the rails. Let's just keep an eye on it, keep it as it is, and keep an eye on it.
okay.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
Or
We were meeting once a month. This never came up then, and now it's coming up now. So,
And if we didn't change our meeting.
right, so we're,
So we
Let's-
dealt
let's
with
ju-
it in the moment.
well, yes.
And that's
And
what we're gonna
if
do.
we have an emergency come up, we can work around it. We
Okay.
worked around it the last time, we can work around it again,
Okay,
so.
so all those in favor of the motion approving as worded? All those against?
Against it?
Yeah. You saw me raise my hand and you're like, oh, I shouldn't be raising my hand.
Not the case at all, I just,
Okay, 11G. Okay, to see if the board will approve Bethel, oh, this is why you've been here, Dave, I forgot. To see if the board will approve Bethel Rescue to apply for a connectivity grant through Maine EMS. The grant will cover the installation, the annual cost for CAD, hotspots, locational GPS type devices for 2 ambulances for 2 years. Town would be responsible for after the grant expires. Dave Hanscom.
I'd just like to start by saying I'm a little jealous. Everybody else is asking for alcohol and marijuana. I'm just asking for technology.
I'd rather go in here.
But the alcohol keeps you in business.
that's the way to start the whole thing out.
So, perhaps a little clarification. What we actually need is permission to be. So the grant is Maine EMS's grant. All we need is really permission to participate in a project that they've already been approved for. So Maine EMS has been approved for a grant that has enough money in it to fund every ambulance in the state of Maine with this technology. But it's our ambulances, so we need to tell them, yes, we want you to put this technology on our ambulances, or no, we don't want you to put this technology on our ambulances. So the ask is whether or not you want to do it. So what is the technology? It basically puts high-speed internet into our ambulances, allowing for Wi-Fi on scene, high-speed internet throughout transport. Those things currently would be useful for run reporting on the go, but the state's vision is that they will allow for more telehealth. So we get a patient that we need a doctor's input on, we would be able to be connected from either the patient's house or our trip into the hospital. Where would this be useful? We're transporting a patient that we think is having a stroke, and we connect with the doctor in real time. They can do their stroke assessment and say, this patient's better off going to XYZ hospital than coming to our hospital because they have the technology to deal with it, as an example. It would also put technology in the ambulances so that if people would have the potential to subscribe for, hey, I want to know when there's an emergency scene around me. So if Frank was to say, yep, sign me up, now Bethel Rescue is sitting on the side of Route 2 with a motor vehicle crash. As Frank is approaching, before he gets to the scene, he would get an alert on his phone that says, hey, there's an emergency vehicle in active emergency mode on your current path, and then he would be aware of it, it would be safer for us, and he could choose to go a different route if he so wanted. And then it would also allow us to pair with computer-aided dispatch, so the potential would be there for the dispatch center to be aware of where emergency vehicles were, and they could communicate important information. So, the reason that I think you should jump on this and say yes, do it, is it's no out of pocket to us right now. And my experience with Maine EMS is that if they get enough other services to jump on this, that they may down the road cram it down your throat, and then the grant funding wouldn't necessarily be there to put the technology on ambulances. it pays for the first 2 years of, the connection. So you get 2 years of trying it out, seeing if you like it. If you don't like it at the end of 2 years and they haven't mandated it at that point, you have the equipment on your truck, you just don't resubscribe to the service. And then 2 years after that, they decide to mandate it, you have the technology, you just have to buy into the service agreement. They are trying to find funding after the 2 years, but it's not guaranteed that that'll happen. So if we chose to continue, it would become an expense for the town. But for the first 2 years, no expense, and then you choose whether you re-up with the service provider.
Do we know what the expense is post 2
Yes.
years?
No, I couldn't. So it'd be about $4,500 a year. It's 187
4,500?
a year. It's $187.50 per ambulance per month. We have 2 ambulances
4,500?
For the two of them.
That's not that
for the 2 of them.
big of a deal. That's a lot to me personally as a human.
Does that cover all the data? Like, it's just a one-time fee?
So
And nothing else?
the 4,500, if we had to pay it, would
Yeah.
be our subscription fee, like you would pay a cell phone
Yeah.
fee every month. It would be the same thing to get the high-speed internet into your ambulance, whoever their provider was.
So I guess my immediate thought is like absolutely we should go for this and then just put it on our budget as like a note to start kind of squirreling away, just another little side account of some
How much
sort.
do these units cost?
That, yeah, that information they didn't provide us with. All I
That'd be
know is that,
expensive.
and I don't know if Jim, maybe you have some perspective, I know you're a techie guy, but, they tell us that it includes a cradle point router, high gain roof mounted antenna, the first 2 years of service, Haas alert safety cloud subscription for 2 years, forward thinking GPS, and supplies necessary for installation. I don't know what that is, they didn't give us that number.
Question, with the antenna, does it fold down? Will you be able to fit in your home, in your garage?
So that's a valid question that I should probably ask somebody.
Cool.
Like we have
'Cause it was
regular
tough to kill it
antennas on top
immediately.
of our ambulance, I
Yeah.
just don't know what this antenna's like I have no idea.
Okay.
It's a military 30-foot whip.
What I'm saying, is this your
That
dirty trick
would
to
be a
get?
problem.
Like honestly, like is it a giant triangle?
That's totally.
It's a very valid question.
Yeah, well, if not, very clever way to get a new barn. Tricky man. Tricky,
I like where you're going. It wasn't a 30-foot, but it's now.
So yeah, that's that.
Question, who's the funder of the grant?
So all we got for information was that Maine EMS is launching a federally granted connectivity project, so money through the feds somehow.
And you don't, well, we know it's $4,500 a year for the annual
agreement.
cost, and you don't have any idea. I'm just thinking if funding fails after year one, then we're stuck with it, paying for it. And that's
So-
why this stuff comes to us, is because of the liability that it may end up if it falls through.
You're not locked in, are you locked into a contract for 2 years for the software?
So this tells us that the U.S. Department of Transportation through the Bureau of Highway Safety has this project, and that it covers the first 2 years of service. If they back out on that,
Is the grant written or they're trying
it's
to?
already approved.
Oh, it's already approved
They're done.
and the funding's in,
They
okay.
just need to know whether services want to buy it or not, whether services want to accept the project within their ambulances or not.
Sure.
And is there a threshold for that? Have they met the number yet to be able to provide it, or do you know?
They've got the grant, they're asking, hey, do you wanna be part of this project? It's a project already, whether Bethel does it or not, other places in the city are gonna.
Yeah.
Like, the money's there, they've already started collecting the names of who wants to be involved.
I would think with like something like this, like you were kind of right in that eventually we're gonna have to do it, like broad.
That's my fear.
Yeah, yeah,
They
eventually we're
did
gonna
this
have
to us
to.
with IV pumps a few years ago.
Sure.
They're like, hey, we're gonna give you permission to have these, and then a few years later, when enough services had them, they said, every service is gonna have.
Yeah, especially with the push to like broadband and all of that, I think it's probably coming down the pike anyways, might as well have them pay for the equipment instead of us. That's my personal opinion.
Have they tested it in rural Maine?
Yep.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's why it's free.
I was gonna ask if the transport is, if it's satellite or if it's cellular.
If it's a hotspot, it will be a hotspot.
Well, oh yeah, if it's self.
If it's a hotspot, it will be a hotspot, it will work everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
Not
Oh
at
my
all.
gosh.
Everywhere
I
mine.
have a
Are you,
hotspot, no,
oh, I
it's
can
everywhere.
pass it back,
Yeah, a lot.
if that's okay.
That's right, works that.
'Cause it's
Um,
satellite.
So, Pat, are you ready to vote?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, all those in favor?
No, we didn't make a motion.
Oh, we didn't make a motion?
Huh?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, guys, I'm messy today.
So, I'd like to make a motion that we apply for the connectivity grant from the main EMS. I guess that's all I need to say, right? We don't need to include everything.
Participate in
The grant's already there, it would be to apply to.
Participate in the project, the
Participate.
connectivity project.
You would be
Oh, okay,
participating.
so let's participate in.
and the connectivity grant through Maine EMS. Okay? Second? I'll second it. Why not? All those in favor? Unanimous, there you go, Dave. Get it going. But I
Make
think
sure you have it,
we
you
should
come
put it
from me.
on the budget.
We know where you are.
Absolutely, I know that you'll be organized.
It's better than us paying for 3 years from now.
I don't wanna take any chances.
Okay, 11H, update and discussion on the American Rescue Plan Act funds. Sharon, do you wanna give us a little overview of this?
So I just wanted to update you on where the town is with the ARPA funds. Toby came to me last week about funding for 3 items that he had out for bid to do with the sewer plant. And as I understand it, and I'm bringing this so that I can get clarification from you all that this is accurate, the ARPA funds were originally voted by you to be used for broadband, and then there was something that came up that they couldn't be used for broadband, and then you changed your support for all of the ARPA funds to go towards sewer projects. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, thanks citizen Lori Swain.
So the town received a total of $289,000 and some change in ARPA funds. To date, there has been some expenditures paid. One expenditure was for a $45,000 amount to be put in escrow toward the, for DEP that required their, the sewer line that's going in. There was another one for $290. And then there were 3 items that Toby had gone out to bid for. One of them, I've asked him to go back to the vendor to update the 30-day requirement on their bid because they honor it for 30 days. And that was for heaters for the sewer plant. The one that was for paving, that can't be done this year because of the time frame, because it wasn't scheduled. So that I've asked him to put on his calendar to rebid again in April. The other one was for, it's called the air fan. That, he had 2 bids for that.
I'm sorry, air fan?
Air fan.
Air.
He had 2 bids for that, and both vendors ended up coming back, because they could not, they weren't gonna bid on it anymore, so I've asked him to schedule that to be rebid again in April. And, then he asked about the, he said that by the end of December 2023, all of the funds to be used had to be obligated, and that had to be turned into the center for this. So after doing some checking, the obligation period to obligate the funds is December 31st, 2024. So, and then the funds can actually, you can have until December of 2026 to actually spend them. So between now and December 2024, it has to be reported and obligated to the agency that requires this information. So with what these three items that he's going to be getting bids for is gonna be approximately $70,000. And then I found out after about the 45,000. So there's approximately $160,000 in ARPA funds that there's no commitment for. So right now I'm working with Toby to find out what $160,000 can be spent for at the sewer plant. There's a $50,000 resilience plan that is also for the grant, that has already been received towards a sewer, and the ARPA funds.
Very late.
And then the 3.2 million rural development money for the three projects. So with the ARPA funds, in using it for the sewer infrastructure, it can cover facility upgrades. So whatever there might be over and above what the rural development grant is going to expend, we just need to know what that $160,000 is gonna be committed for, and I don't want that to get lost so that it's not committed. So that needs to be kept on everybody's radar and maybe figure out what that money is gonna be used for, because like I said, there's still $50,000 grant, and
What about the electricity room? Like the roof is failing from my understanding, and
That was fixed, I believe it.
Not yet.
no. You gotta redo, it's a cement, so you have to, it's a project.
What roof am I thinking of? $40,000 roof. So we
40
approved money to replace a roof for $45,000.
Maybe one of the, pump houses?
I thought it was the electrical one.
Maybe we did, maybe that's what the ARPA funds were supposed to go to, or maybe rural development?
I'm not
I don't know,
sure.
but it hasn't been replaced, I
So
know that
with-
for sure.
It's leaking.
It's not great,
What
it
might-
condensates.
So what might be helpful is, and it will help keep track of everything, is, at the time that we approve, the sewer budget, we're also supposed to approve a 5-year capital plan. And we have not had one presented to us. I don't know if one's been prepared last year or the year before that can be updated and rolled forward, I'm not sure.
okay.
But if we can develop a 5-year capital plan for us to review, that would presumably have the order of priority or preference of capital items that need to be done, I think then we can provide
More finished.
direction. And obviously, we're not worried about the income, because we already have that piece taken care of. Well, maybe we need more, I don't know. But at least we'll have what capital projects are gonna be done.
Okay.
I think.
Right now, there are 3 sources of income to put towards sewer. And I just wanted it on everyone's radar that there are date requirements on everything, and prioritizing and finding out what we can use these monies for.
For the community resilience grant, that is very specifically for exterior doors and casings. I think it was 2 that we had budgeted for, and the rest of that grant has already been spent on the overhead doors that were way late, and those, like, I've told Toby, like, I'm very happy to reach out to contractors and get that rolling if that needs to happen, but those exterior doors, we need to buy them, because that money's gonna get taken back pretty soon here.
Are they overhead doors?
No, they're
they're
just
just
the
regular
exterior door, I think he was looking at the one in the office, and then looking at the one, for the first building, the grit separator one.
Okay. So I asked for a copy of this resilience grant today that we have here. I'll get that. I didn't get it by the end of the day, but I will get that so that I can look at all the requirements.
Natalie should have, I sent it, she should have it somewhere in her documents if you go back. I was SB, what were you, sir? SB2, would have sent it to her. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I know Amy has a copy of
Okay,
that.
cool.
So I will do that. I'll look at the 5-year capital plan for sewer. I'll put everything together for sewer and work with Toby. And I can go over there next week. And I can get a list of vendors to do doors.
Yeah.
I'll have him show me what needs to be done over there, and then I can put together a list of vendors for whatever we need.
Yeah, I just don't wanna get taken on.
Okay.
The previous superintendent down there did give us a 5-year capital plan.
I'm sure I can, I'll find
He did give it to us.
Okay.
Okay,
That'd be great, cause then we can just,
yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay. All right.
I love a capital plan. Especially going into budget season, it's nice to know what's gonna break soon. Okay, are we good to move on from this discussion? Anybody else have any? 11I, continue discussion on Board of Selectmen rules and procedures. I would almost say that we should focus on our executive session and give time to that today.
Yeah.
Alright, so
It seemed like, that the edits were, like.
it didn't come out right, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
okay,
It's-
right, I
it's
just
wrong.
threw that.
Don't worry,
Okay.
ignore the whole thing,
Okay.
let's postpone, or postpone to a workshop, which would you prefer?
I think it would be good to have a workshop.
Okay. Can we, I'll make a motion to postpone the discussion on the Board of Selectmen rules procedure to a workshop, date.
Weren't we going to review the, what we had?
Yeah,
And
but,
so, shouldn't we get that printed out and review it and then come back to it?
yes,
And then make a decision where we go from there?
Did I give you a copy of that?
What updates are on it?
it's, yeah,
Oh.
it's the old one, but that's okay, that's my fault, not yours, Sharon, I did
So
not.
let's
email
get
the
that
version.
and let us
Okay.
review that before we jump into a workshop.
Well, I was gonna say workshop with date to be determined, so that we could figure out the date after we figure all this out. Just so that people know that we're gonna have a workshop.
at some point, and whether it's during the meeting or at separate, yeah, and let's not put a date on it
Yeah,
this time,
yeah,
so we
yeah.
can fit everything in.
Okay, so that's my motion, anyways.
Second?
All those in favor? Okay. Discussion, or 11J, discussion and consideration to training, scheduling a training session with Craig Freshley.
So I did call him this week because I wanted to get the information from him. And I went on his website while we were on the phone. And so I printed off the facilitation pages that he referred me to. His session is $1,400 for 2 hours, not $1,200. He said that was probably an old price he had. And he does do both 2 and 4 hour sessions. The 2 hour session is $1,400 and the 4 hour session is $1,800. He does charge an additional travel cost and mileage reimbursement. And he is totally booked for November. He is available in December on the 6th and the 20th on Wednesdays. And he said he's open to schedule those sessions whenever you might want to. I would just have to call him back to make sure, once you have a date certain, if you decide you wanna do this.
Thank you for doing your research. So yeah, it was my thought that it might be useful for us to have, such a training. I know she had mentioned MMA trainings too. With this training, I think it would be most beneficial to have it shortly after a new town manager was to come on, so we could have it all together and kind of meet at a strong foundation with communication and kind of knowing kind of where we're at. So that was my thought process. So December would be a little too early. I was thinking more like February or after budget season even, whichever makes sense. But it was really just my thought that our training, that we could kind of glean information to pass on to future boards would be really beneficial.
I have a suggestion.
Sure.
I bought the book,
Yeah, it's
his
great.
book,
It's a great book.
and I think, did you read it?
Yeah, you did.
Okay. I think reading it first is like the most important thing. Then you go out and spend that kind of money on a seminar.
So we should all read the book.
Yeah, I was
Well,
thinking that too.
I'm thinking that, I think
Can the town
that
buy it?
spending, I don't know what I paid for the book, $20.
$19.99, baby.
Okay, so for $20, I mean, I think it's a great value, and I don't know if $1,400 has the same value as reading the book first.
Mhm.
And that's my suggestion.
Yeah, that's fine with me. I'm just better with like in-person trainings always, but.
It's very expensive, very.
No, I totally get it, Frank, I have no problem with that. Kind of in lieu of this, though, I do think we should have some type of workshop together when it comes to code of conduct, really kind of,
I think there's some things that doing together
yeah, that we
are,
should do
that
together.
are very important that we haven't done.
I agree.
I think that as a board, that we should visit our town facilities as a board. Like the fire department, like EMS, like the sewer plant, like the
Airport?
I just think it's important that we get the same view at the same time to be able to
I love that
make
idea.
these decisions. Spending money on something like this as a board, I don't think gives the bang for the buck. When we can do some other things that will give us a bigger bang and be a better board
And plug us
instantly
in.
without spending the town's money.
Well said, I agree.
I'll stop.
No, you did good.
Thanks.
See your strength when you stop, make
Yeah.
your point.
Thank you.
So, do you want me to, order books for all board members, and if you do, you can make that motion, it can come out of your training account?
Yeah, except for Frank.
I don't need a book.
Sorry, Frank.
Neither does Meryl, she
I don't
already
need
got
a
it.
book. So, yeah, I guess can we get 3 books?
I can get it myself, I was just
Okay.
trying to, together we decide.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it's a great,
Freshly.
it is a really good
Amazon.
book.
On Amazon.
Through Amazon.
I think
You can get
it's-
through his website a little cheaper.
Yeah, and I think you can find his book right on his website too,
Oh, yeah, I got
the name of that, so,
I got it in 2 days.
Yeah.
at Amazon.
2 days. I was supposed to get it tomorrow, but I got it today.
Did you get yours at Amazon?
Yes.
Okay, I'll get one too.
Yeah, they're quite good, and he has a couple of different books too,
I didn't
like,
see that.
it was like good decision making, I think is what it's called, and it's about, basically how you compromise with a board that has varied opinions and how varied opinions is the strength of the board, not the weakness of the board. So, I like that one too.
So does anybody want me to order them? Do you want,
Oh, yeah.
do you want one, Pat? Sarah?
But I didn't, I
Two.
can get there too.
Take it!
We have an Amazon account, so we can order it right from Amazon and get it quickly.
We can do Smile Fund or something, right?
I don't know if they do that anymore.
Yeah, they do.
Do they still do the
Smile
smile
Fund?
fund?
Amazon Smile, yeah.
I don't know about that.
If you do like a backslash smile, you can, a certain percentage of everything you buy on Amazon will go to an organization of your
Oh.
choice. Yeah, I've been having it for like many years. Okay, so moving on.
So that would be like kind of a food for thought as far as a board.
I love that idea.
Yeah,
Right,
so-
love it.
Very good.
Do we
Something we
wanna-
will consider later.
Should we ask this at dates or?
People are raising their hands.
Hi,
So,
so sorry.
just one way you could do it, our board is, one every month. We start our meeting an hour early, and so that we can go do a walkthrough at each department. We just started that 2 months ago.
Cool.
So like, the first department we did, was the rec department, and we had a tour by the rec director, and we were able to see everything wrong with the building, right with the building, what needed to be done. And we'll do that with all of ours. So that's one way you can do it. You just post your meeting to start at 5. The press came with us. We went to the sewer plant, actually, that was the first one. That was very impressive because I had never been to our sewer plant. So, you could always do it an hour before your meeting, or you could do it at another time, but it would still have to be advertised because it would be all.
A meeting, yeah.
Yeah.
So originally, when I had put the board and committee report, it was kind of for that reason, was to have like different departments and boards and committees coming to us to present, but I very much would prefer to go to facilities and have people be able to put, and I don't know if it would be totally crazy, but to invite the budget committee if they want to come to look at the broken things in town.
I would start off with just the selectmen because
Yeah.
you're a smaller group, and that way you can see your facilities that
Sure.
you're responsible for.
Okay.
And probably start it after we find out about the Hanover meeting and stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
Jess had a question.
Well, I just didn't know on the organizations, say like the EMS or the fire that have members and volunteers, if, not just the facility, but if at some point you wanted to have a meeting, if we know when their meetings together, so you're not just meeting with the facility, but maybe you're also meeting with the volunteers at some point down the road too. So it's, you might hear from the individuals involved as well. Not every organization, thing that you're gonna visit will have that volunteer group, but like the fire does, EMS does, I don't know if they're rec volunteers, but.
Tons.
I know,
Exclusively
But-
volunteers.
Expanded beyond just the pure facility to the
Yeah.
individuals who are volunteering. And knowing when you guys meet as far as those groups.
I would say the director or the manager, whatever, of that department would be responsible for notifying his people that we're coming and they're invited to come if they want to.
From a department standpoint, it'd be super useful for the department head to be aware.
Yeah.
Because I know some people have visited our facility, and I'm not opposed to the select board meeting the people that are there on a daily basis, but when you walk in there, you could be talking to somebody that's there once a month, once every other month, and they're not necessarily going to be as aware of the challenges that we're facing. So you could go there and convince somebody that everything is fine, versus somebody who is responsible for all of the goings on there is more in touch with the challenges that we're facing.
So the tour is actually with the department head, so the manager would contact you as the department head and schedule that
What a good-
meeting, that tour, when you're available to meet with the select board to come tour your facility.
I think that's the right way to do it. I'm
That's
just
how-
saying our experience has been that some people have just popped in down there,
Yeah, no,
and
this
they
wouldn't
don't
be.
necessarily,
That was
Yeah,
my
no,
experience.
It wouldn't be, it would be
I'm not calling
organized
anyone out.
between the department head and the manager.
He's talking about me.
just
But I did go to Amy and ask her afterwards. I'm like, can you clarify? Okay, so sweet. Okay, to see if the board will vote to appoint Jessica Grover as warden for November 7th election. Would you like to
Every
be the
election after
warden?
that.
I'll make a motion to appoint Jessica Grover as warden for the November 7th election.
Any talk? All in favor? You're hired. Warrants. Alright, 12A, to see if the board will vote to approve accounts payable warrant 2024-17 in the amount of $151,919.42.
So move.
Second.
Alright, any questions on this?
I had just a question on the first page of the $34,450. It just seemed different
So moved was Michelle. I'm sorry, say that again.
just under, well, it said under fire protection, 34,450.
Item 301,
Yeah,
What's the amount of the check?
$34,450.
it just seemed different from all the other things in the
Yeah, it was slightly higher.
I was just wondering, I wasn't sure if it was like for, there was a fire and that much water was pumped or that.
We got a payment on the air
How much was it?
I think it's probably air pack. Yeah, air pack.
pack. We get air pack payment.
Air pack thing?
Our SCBA's, I think that's the.
Okay, I thought it was under Bethel Water District.
The bottom check
I
is
thought it was had to do with water.
Oh, I just had, so I can tell you what that's for. So
It
that,
could be the hydrant, right?
that's the total of the check, so you wanna know the $34,000?
Yes, please.
It's flush, my ears are
It's
really,
under the water district, it's.
I think it's a
hydrant
flushing of
rental.
the hydrants, but,
How you rent?
Yeah, we don't own the hydrants.
but it's a hydrant.
We don't own the hydrant?
The biggest piece of the Bethel Fire Department's budget, I think, is
It's the
the fact
wa-
that they have to
water
pay the
system.
water district for the hydrants.
Oh, yeah.
Wait,
And we have no control over how much they wanna charge.
No, that's right.
34, wait, so.
Should we contract with them so that we can have a little control? Would they be okay with that? Okay, cool.
I just know every year Mike has to stand there and say, hey, this much of my budget is for
Yeah,
the
like-
hydrants.
Oh,
I
yeah, I
don't
guess
remember
I
the
do
amount,
remember that.
that's not my
Yeah.
gig, but I know
We
it's.
don't have any control over that. Whatever they feel like.
So what are they doing for that? Like it's, sorry, I don't, like.
That's a good question too.
I don't, well, I don't,
Very good
what's
question.
what's involved in, what's involved in maintaining a
They're
hydrant?
supposed to be maintaining them, if they break, they're supposed to be fixing them. If we use them, we have to notify them, if we use them, we have to pump them out so they don't freeze.
It's for 34.
Um,
And that is the public hydrants.
Public hydrant. Wow.
So if we drink, if
Part
we
of
have
the
a,
negotiation of putting the water department together and stuff like that, I heard something about this. There's more to it than what's meeting the eye.
That's the water bill for those, that is
Yeah,
the water
there's more
bill
to it.
for
there's a rental fee on the hydrants.
Yeah, there's more to it.
This
We
is
don't
the
know what
water.
all the details are, but
This is the water portion.
Yeah.
It's the water bill for the hydrants.
For,
Wow.
but that's for the year or?
No, that's the quarterly bill.
For the
That's
wa-
what we pay quarterly for that. These are quarterly bills on that, for that 37,000.
Oh, it's all to the water district.
It's-
Oh,
yes.
I get it. And it's all the different
That check is
quarterly
to-
minimums
right.
and overages.
So it's the water use, so
we-
there's a
And
meter
have
on every,
access.
there's a meter on every.
Just like,
hydrant.
just
No,
like
this is
every,
just to have it available.
Just have it available.
that's just the water to have it available, yeah.
So it's not that we're using it.
So like the water comes out of
Maybe
the
Chief
wells,
Jodry could
comes
give us
across.
It's the basic fee that you pay for the hydrant water bill. Just like when you get your home water bill, you pay a minimum charge.
That's the minimum.
That's the minimum charge. If you use water from the hydrants and it goes above what your minimum charge is, that water bill is gonna be more. but that's the quarterly bill. So that times 4 is what we budget
How
for
many
a year.
hydrants do we have?
I don't
Sorry,
know. I don't
That's an
remember the
annoying
number.
question, just to remember.
A lot.
Well, I can find out because I know how many I used to have in my town, but yeah, that's what that's for.
And do we know
Makes
if
me
we
happy
go
that I asked
over
the same
the
question.
It
minimum?
is actually subsidizing,
Some other,
you know.
yeah, probably you.
Well, it's the water.
Yeah. Alright, so we have a motion on the table, are we ready to approve? All those in favor?
Did you make the motion?
Michelle made the
Oh.
motion, Sarah seconded.
I think we just approved it.
Excellent, approved. Any select board items today?
I would like to see Natalie's name taken off of as much of the correspondence as can be done.
We're trying to do that right now. We thought we had it fixed for this one, but it's still printed out with it.
And I noticed on the emails too.
On the emails and Chris Sanborn is coming to take care of all of those. And even the former clerk, when Jessica, her name is still on the emails. None of that has been fixed. And today I went in on the phone to try to take her message off and put mine. I did it, but it didn't work, so I have to go back and figure out what I did wrong. So we're working on the internets, on the emails, the phones and the website. Trying to get all of that done, because sometimes they're not too user friendly.
Yeah, I'm only mentioning it because of the legalities of her name being on everything like
Yes,
that.
I know.
So when you say her name's on the emails, like,
The town emails that we get,
Mhm.
it's coming from Natalie.
but isn't that something we control, like I can go and.
It is.
I mean, I edited it on
It
my.
comes from
If-
TM at
Yeah,
Bethel
Bethel or.
name,
and then you
If
assign
you,
the
if
name
your
to it.
name, when you put that in, you associate
We do it
her
on our
name
side.
with it. Cause I
When
did
it
the
comes
same
up on
thing.
mine, it
It
just
says-
says Natalie on.
You
on
have to
does.
edit it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you have to.
cause I had it with
Mine's the
Loretta
same
for the
way.
Mine was
longest time,
Christine
and then I was
Landis.
like, oh, I need to, like, change it to
Why didn't I
Natalie.
do
I was
that?
like,
Yeah.
But we can fix on our end, and Chris is going to do that
That's
for us,
great.
to take all of those old names off and set it up so it's all consistent here, so we don't have those problems. I'm not an IT person, so I don't know how to do any of that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, we do have to take care of all of that, and we are working on it.
I have one other thing, it was brought to my attention that we have a homeless person, and, I need to find out if we have any resources, or what the procedure is, I mean, as far as, I mean, there's only one that I know of, I'm sure there's more than one, but,
Yeah, I think there might be, cause you said it was a email, but I think there might be a
There's guy
mail
around too.
too, who's been coming to the, yeah.
So
but the one
anyways,
that I was brought,
resources.
the attention I was brought to is this female may have, I'm politically correct, mental issues, and she may be pregnant. And so, my first thought was to maybe contact Community Concepts. I don't know what the procedure is, I can't find anything to back up what has happened in the past. Laurie, do you have,
We called Oxford County.
the Sheriff's Department is the one that I talked to.
Yeah, and they're supposed to, if the landowner makes a formal complaint
Exactly.
to the sheriff's department, then the sheriff's department takes and removes that person from the town,
Post.
Well,
to the next town.
I wasn't told that.
To the next
I
one.
mean,
So,
they just said that,
Maybe we just figure out what
Yeah.
some resources
If Oxford County doesn't wanna do it, they won't do it.
they can't do it unless they do have a formal complaint from the
Correct.
landowner.
Correct.
And they're not gonna find out who the landowner is.
Right, and that, all.
And that's
Okay.
where I am.
Alright, let's,
I'll look at that.
Yeah, let's
I'll look
just-
at that.
we'll look into it,
Okay.
and figure out how we can address that, and I guess look on access to figure out who
I
the
mean, if
homeowner
she's,
is.
if they're, the person is taken out of the town, that's one thing, but if they're just taken off of the property, then that person's gonna end up in somebody else's property. So that was a
What do
concern.
you take, do you take them to a shelter?
We have had people who have been homeless in other areas who applied for general assistance, that do qualify for that. So that's one resource that I know that can be done, but that person has to
Come
go
to
to
the
the
town.
town
Right.
and apply for those resources. But I'll check into other resources for homeless people and see what options are, and then, I can let you know, and you can probably pass that on, or, but I'll see what I can find
Okay,
out.
thank you.
Yeah.
I have two items. I attended the the start of the Oxford County budget process. They had a public hearing last night, and lo and behold, I saw that the Bethel Airport did put money in for consideration, $7,000. And so, since there seem to be other people,
To receive,
yep,
nice.
and we'll see how long it will last. And since other people are popping up in support of giving monies, I'm like, impromptu, I jumped up and just said a few words in support of getting monies for the Bethel Regional Airport. So we'll share that. They have a workshop on November 14th, I believe, is their budget committee's workshop on that. Anybody wants to?
November
Well, that's
14th.
Yeah, November 14th, yeah. And it's on their, the county's website, so you can download and look at what they're looking at. And my second item is I wanted to follow up on a comment that Meryl shared with us last week about not telling the manager what to do. And I've been reflecting on that over the week, and I just have some concerns. And it seemed like one or more of us were being accused of some sort of misconduct. So I just was wondering if you could share a little bit more or the basis for that.
Sure. So my intention was not to accuse anybody of anything or single anyone out. That's why I wanted to address it to the entire board as just a friendly reminder. But my why did I say that? I said that because with the Christy Hamill abatement. You had asked the manager to like pull reports for you, and it wasn't done in the public session, and so I just thought that we should just be careful about when we're assigning tasks to, like unless the tasks are coming to the agenda, like if you're saying, can you pull the Hamill abatement information and bring it to the agenda for all of us to decide something on, that's one thing, but I think it's like a little inappropriate to add tasks to the plate of our town manager without just speaking to the rest of us first. It wasn't certainly anything that I hold against you, I mean, I think you're brilliant, but yeah, I just think there's just a line we all have to walk, and I just thought it was important to just state, as we have our interim, and then again, as we have a new town manager, that we just keep those lines really, really clear, because I think, when they get muddy, there's a lot of miscommunication, and then resentment builds up, and then we have experiences like we just experienced for months, and I don't ever wanna go through that again, so that was my only purpose for that, and it could have been, that's the one that I heard of, but it could fall on any of us, cause any of us have, the inclination to go in and say, hey, like, I would like to know about this and blah, 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 but I think we need to just get into the habit of doing our business in the public.
No, I thank you for clarifying that, because
No
that
problem.
probably would have saved even saying it, and it was something you said that you heard, and so I can clarify for you.
Yeah.
I did not ask the town manager to go pull our reports. I reported in to the town manager in regards to the appeal hearing.
Okay.
At the last minute, I attended it, and with the transition, and there was a written decision, and the former town manager asked me to please give that to the new town manager, and I
Okay.
took the opportunity to download, and I gave my observations, and I did have some concerns, and to let you know what I think you're referring to as pulling, is there, I guess I can say that in public, is there was some inconsistencies in the presentation, in the hearing, than
The
what
appeals
was,
hearing?
yeah, the appeals hearing, than what, we were presented at the meeting.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know what the details were, it was different, and I presented it to everything that I had. I left it on her desk and said, here you go, these are kind of what my thoughts were and what my concerns were.
Sure.
You may have to look into, yeah, I did say, you may have to look into some of this if we get, if we do get pulled into court, we're gonna wanna have our case filed.
Sure.
So that is what happened, and I left it, and that was it, and then, of course, we had that update
Yeah.
that she shared with us. So I'm glad to clarify it, that the line wasn't crossed, and just, feel free to give me just
You know
give me
I
a
will.
call.
You know I will, Michelle.
And because I think it felt a little condescending a little bit, and like you said, we don't wanna go through that.
Yeah, no,
And we
no.
just wanna move forward,
Yeah,
so.
absolutely. Well, I'm sorry if it felt condescending. It wasn't meant to be a chastisation. It was just like, please, let's not do this again, because I really just can't do it.
I think we're all sensitive, so, thanks for the chance to.
Of course, thanks for clarifying. I think, and again, like all that information regarding the appeals, that would have been a great thing, I think, for us to hear about in select board items, because I don't know anything about it. I wasn't there for the initial decision, and I couldn't go to the appeals. And I think, since we did make that decision and it moved on to the next, if you were downloading to someone, downloading to the board would have been nice as well.
Yeah, I think it was just happened to be the timing of it
Totally,
all.
yeah.
I think it happened to be the timing of it all, and at that point, that was an appeals board decision, it wasn't affecting us, and I just did the depository. And I think if, the turn of events, weren't heading in the directions that they were, you would have, had it, an update tonight.
Totally.
So I think that was it with the transition, I just wanted to get it in the right place as fast as I could.
Fair enough.
Since these are on the subject, did the appeals board deny it, or I don't even know what the outcome was?
They upheld the selectmen's decision 4-1.
So they denied their appeal, okay.
Yes.
So it's going into the next circuit.
They had the choice to take it to another level.
I have a comment.
Sure.
And the comment is this, that we are all free to speak and to freedom of speech. To limit what a selectman can say to the town manager.
That's what our
Right.
code does. I'm not making that up. It comes straight from our code book.
What you're asking for here is for, to be able to talk to the town manager, to be vetted by the board. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I heard, this whole conversation here was that Michelle's having a conversation with our town manager. She's having a conversation, a free and easy conversation. Town manager hasn't objected to the conversation. But yet, I'm going to say, by the way, this conversation should have been done in front of all of us. But to limit a selectman to be able to have a free conversation with the town manager seems to be overstepping our bounds.
So,
And I preface this through the attorney that came in here and spoke to us.
exactly.
And that attorney.
Exactly.
Okay, so if I'm saying something that is contrary to what the attorney said that we are one of 5 with equal power, with equal responsibilities. So
But
nobody is, I'm not gonna be able to say, oh, by the way, Sarah, No, you can't do that. That's not the way it's done. We're an equal board who communicate evenly throughout the process.
I think a couple things. One, that lawyer, if you go back and listen, did say to refrain from having private conversations with the town manager. Two, I think really what it's about with the even power and the even, we not only speak as a board, like our communication should be one, like that's why we vote. What we come out at the end, it's not she voted no, she voted no, she voted yes, you voted yes. It's we voted yes, you know? So like our individual, like we can all have our individual opinions, but the communication is of the board. So one person cannot go to the town manager and ask for a task. I thought she asked for a task, she just clarified she did not ask for a task. So that's fine. You can have a conversation, you can ask for clarification, you can bring information to the town manager. What I'm saying is if you're attaching, like, you need to go and look into this and not bring it before the board first, as this is a direction from the board that we all voted on and
I think
asked
we
you to
all
do.
know that. I don't think that's
Right,
something that we.
It's something that we've had some problems with it, for sure.
Well,
And
I
I've been
don't think
equally-
it's fair for one of us to be speaking down to the others.
Like
And
I
that's
said, I
what-
did
that-
not.
Well, you may not think you did that, but that's what you're doing. And it is putting yourself above us. And that, or any one of us putting ourselves above one another. And that's not kosher.
I
That's
think-
not what the attorney was talking about.
I think also though we need to keep each other accountable, and just the same way I would expect Michelle to call me out if I did something wrong, I would expect you to do the same, I would expect Sarah to do the same, I expect Pat to do the same. It's not that I'm chair and that's why I said it. I said it because I wanna keep our board accountable and I wanna keep us on kind of the up and up. That's really the only reason. And I would never, I don't think I'm better than anyone else, I really, really don't, and to be honest, the comments, like, maybe me talking down to you is just being very uncomfortable. Having said that, like, it's uncomfortable to say anything to a board of people, especially a board of people that have genuinely more experience than I do. So I think sometimes, like, I get a little shaky and a little nervous, and maybe it comes across as arrogant, but it's not meaning to come across as arrogant, but I do think it is my job to kind of keep the board aligned and keep meetings running. And so when I address the board, it's never to like talk down to anybody, but it is to keep us kind of all one unit. And I think it's important for us to remain one unit. Like I said, like our power is kind of in our union and our authority is in our union, and I don't want us to get in the habit of giving direction, and that's really the key here, giving direction to the town manager without, not necessarily vetting it, or just like saying, hey, like, I'm gonna ask about this, just so we all know what's going on. And also, like, Michelle probably had really important information that it would be nice for the board to know, because, you know, we all go out in the grocery store and I talked to Kirsty, cause she came into Bethel Kitchen Design, and she was pretty upset about the appeals thing, and I didn't know anything about it. So, it's just like, it's just good to keep the information free flowing through the board. And then, you know, part of the rule of that is to have it free flowing through the meetings. So that's all I'm saying, is the code dictates that we cannot give direction to the town manager as single people. So I was just reiterating that. And I don't think I'm better than anybody else, and I don't mean to talk down to anybody. I really respect all of you, and I just want our board to be functional and high level, that's all.
And the appeals board process is really through the town manager,
Totally, yeah.
and it's, you know, it's not my responsibility to, you know,
And I think
tell you
that's,
guys about it. I felt a responsibility because I was the only one that attended, and there was the transition, so I felt a responsibility, so.
I think that was
But-
my conclusion.
Yeah, and that's why I downloaded, Natalie gave me her stuff, and then actually witnessing that there was concerns, and it's taped, so anybody can tape it, and I think that's what happened in there. But also, I just want to reiterate, we act as a board, but we do have, you know, each the same access to the town manager. If we want to have a conversation, we can have a
Absolutely.
conversation. And so I don't want to lose that in
Not at all.
how we act at all. I mean, if, you know, want to go in and ask for questions or something, you know, we can have a relationship with the town manager if we want to, but yes, for our actions. And what you're stating is not just for the town manager. You can't give direction to an employee.
Sure.
I mean, just our presence in front of an employee compromises the town manager. So I think we need to be very, very careful of that, to give our town manager the opportunities, the chance and support, so they can do what we're going to do, is to really be sensitive to your presence in front of an employee, and definitely, like you said, you don't give direction to them. That's, I think, really important.
So as a Board of Selectmen, one or all cannot give direction or orders to any employee other than the town manager, because the town manager hires employees and the selectmen hire the town manager. As a board, you can give orders, fire, do anything to the manager, and give the manager direction as to what you want them to do or not do. But individually, you can't. That's the difference between the manager and the employees. As far as the selectmen, like, you can't go to the rescue department and tell anybody that works there what to do. I just sit there.
You'd laugh at my face anyway.
But I can, the manager can, to any department or department head or department, because the manager is responsible for the employees, but you, the selectmen, are responsible for the manager, and the manager works for you, the employees work for the manager. But I would hope you would all feel comfortable. I don't know what your code says, so, you know, I've read points of it that have come under, that I've had to look at, but I would hope all selectmen would feel comfortable in coming and discussing anything with me, especially, you know, someone that's new that doesn't know what's going on or whatever. And, I mean, I did have a meeting with Ms. Hamill, so the information that I was provided that I didn't have, that ended up working out very well because I had that. But since I've been here, no individual selectman have given me any orders to do anything, and if someone asked for something, I would provide that information to all of you.
Even though you don't have candy in your office, right?
Here's the minutes, what are you talking about?
Candy, that's fun.
She doesn't have it in her office.
No, I
Amy
watched
said
it.
that right from the
Amy's the
beginning.
one. Amy's got that good chocolate. But anyways, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll eat it, that's why it's not in my office.
Okay.
I make a motion that we go into executive session.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor?
And I invite Sharon.
Oh, yeah, please, thank you.
Yeah.
Michelle.
If you'd like to do this.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Do you want that to sign this? Can you sign,
Yes.
Oh, right, yeah, we'll sign.
and then that way I can.
I would
So
like
this,
Merrill
he
to
did
stop
not
paying
bring me
the
the
bottle.
original for the sewer, this is the sewer, and
If
it's a
you
really
didn't
bad
do
copy,
that.
we go through here.
Looks like a
No,
water bottle
no.
comes up.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like she's drinking
That
liquor
is the
over
sewer.
there.
You got a permit
John,
for
it's
that?
sparkling
If you
water.
never saw
It's
that on
not
your
the great
taste
copy, but
test.
she kept it, it looks like a bottle of vodka.
He doesn't have
His
that.
meetings get long, you know?
When, When is it coming
No, I
out?
talked.
Update to you?
Oh,
Did she was fully aware.
who, what?
Next week he's supposed to be here,
That
I
is the
called him
sewer
today to
connection,
remind
Oh,
but
him.
she didn't send me the original.
Yeah,
That's what
this
I
one
had,
is-
so Sharon said
needs
go ahead
update.
and sign it.
Night.
Good night, Lori, is that your
Frank?
town
Frank,
computer?
did you get this
Yeah.
from Nate Crooker
Yeah.
about
Did
the
you get that
Obisky
cabinet
and
over there?
Rockford?
Why don't you,
I printed it for you because I thought
I
it
won't
was
need it
it's like
until
over
Tuesday.
today and they're
so
explaining what
call
they're doing
Amy
with the
tomorrow.
ice skating.
I won't happen, I'm on an airplane all day.
Oh, you are, okay.
Out of
So
Have safe travels.
What did I say?
Yes, just,
he won't be here tomorrow anyway.
like I said, he didn't leave me the original, and so.
He won't, no,
Yeah.
I won't be here tomorrow, but Chris won't be here tomorrow. So as long as we know what he needs to do,
I know it needs
Trying to
11,
rack my brain, like,
Windows
who,
11
or
upgrade.
what,
Um,
No, it's,
or who, and like,
I leave
what
it,
did I do? What did she?
sleep with you, I don't need it until Tuesday, when she
Yeah,
comes.
but
I'm not
maybe it
sure, I
wasn't
called him
that,
today
or-
to ask him
I
what
was hoping
day.
it was some
um,
sort of.
He's
Why
coming.
ask why you
Windows
do that
11
if it's against
update
you?
on that.
Yeah,
I,
whatever
I,
else.
I,
Okay.
I
Finally
did,
got-
she
I,
felt that it was
me,
against someone.
You want me to
someone,
grab the
or all of
charger?
us.
And the
Well,
anxiety of not
Kind of the
knowing.
way,
Well, actually,
the
why don't
way
we
it
leave
came
it
out,
right in there?
and she explained
Well,
how she.
I thought
And
the
then,
way it came out was pretty
Then it
general,
won't get
but
lost.
she wasn't,
And
I wasn't, I
Tom
didn't
was
want to
always
think
talking
about
anybody
it.
them.
wasn't accusing
And
anybody,
that's
she
it,
just
Windows
was
11
making a
update.
statement that that's.
Yeah, and
But it's okay,
whatever
I
else it
understand.
needs. I
Yeah,
finally
I
got-
understand
No, I
why
make a
finally
statement,
got-
there wasn't a
Yeah,
reason, so
exactly.
it can be corrected, or,
I actually get the printer on it. I
you
got
know,
the printer on my tablet. though.
or not, or whatever, you know, yeah, that's the.
All right, so
and I know-
just printer access and Windows 11
But anyways,
update.
yeah.
Okay.
And anything else? that
But
needs-
anytime, I will
Thank
say,
you.
I really am very uncomfortable public speaking, and I'm very uncomfortable being